Hey, you guys. It's Friday. Woo!
Yeah, Friday. Open line Friday tonight. Just turning on my effects in the other room. That way...
My special effects.
Because the sun's starting to go down. And time gets away from me and I walk out there and it's dark and shit. So
and then he trips and falls over.
Got all these damn smart lights and stuff turning shit on. Turning shit on. Get ready for the show.
Like I said, this whole upstairs looks like a fucking... We got all these lights.
Yeah, it looks like a damn
It looks like a fucking disco up in here.
Yeah, and then we got refrigerators and shit. Ice makers out there. I'm going to put a bar out there. It'd look good.
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about. We were thinking of making... Because I think we maybe mentioned this earlier, but the upstairs of this house has like this big, long, kind of semi-open room, which I guess is like a second living room.
Second living room.
Because the living room downstairs is, you know, it's
kind of small.
It's a little bit small.
It's just square. Well, there's two of them, really.
Well, yeah, there's a formal one in the front that's like part living room, part dining room, and then there's like a den.
Yeah.
But there's like a really big, long, open living room up here. And so we were thinking maybe eventually we could make that into a break room.
Yeah.
Like... You know,
put them in a bar.
Yeah, because we have the mini fridge and we have the ice maker. I have a coffee maker in here, you know, so I can make coffee without bothering you. And
I want to put some damn console video games out there, retro shit.
And I was kind of thinking maybe we could even put a microwave and perhaps even a toaster oven out there. That would be kind of neat. And then we could be super lazy and never have to go downstairs ever, except to like take out the garbage and shit.
They're selling those 3/4 scale. Console games, classic ones like Pac-Man and fucking Missile Command and all that shit. They're not that expensive. I was thinking about getting some of those and putting them against the wall. It would just look good, really, more than anything else. If you had guests over, those motherfuckers are all drinkers anyway. We'd just fucking be lounging around out there in that discotheque looking.
We'd all be laying around on the floor.
Playing video games, pretending that it's the fucking 80s.
Cheryl says, "Love your hair, Jenny. Thank you." I almost forgot that I had this purple one.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna wear the black and blue one, and then I was like, "Oh wait, no, I kind of like that purple one because it has like a little bit." The black and blue one is more like middle part, whereas this one's kind of more side part.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I'm kind of feeling that today. I'm kind of feeling the purple. Yeah. I have one just like this, except it's green. Which I like, but that one looks like really, really artificial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like a wig.
Yeah.
A lot of girls wear them, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen other people wearing it before, but that has to be... I was actually going to use the green one, because last Halloween, before I, you know, ran out of money or ran out of time or whatever, like I usually do, I was actually going to do, like, Evil Mermaid, and I was going to wear that green wig for that, but maybe I'll do it this year. I was thinking the other day, isn't this dumb? It's fucking February, and I'm already kind of like, maybe I should start buying like stuff for my Halloween costume now, so I don't get...
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about it because I was watching...
Yeah, I know what I'm gonna buy.
Because I was watching Jade the Libra, who, like I said, her big thing is like Halloween hauls, and she starts looking for Halloween decorations in June, because some stores like put them out that early, sometimes, like June or July. And she was out the other day... she put up a new video, and she was kind of like, I heard that Michaels had some leftover Halloween shit that they didn't sell, and they put it up. And she went to the Michaels, but it was already all sold out. So she decided she was going to do Halloween, as in Halloween and Valentine's Day. So she just bought, like, creepy-looking Valentine's Day shit and, like, made a Halloween Valentine tree. It was actually, like, pretty cool looking. But, yeah, so she just put a new one up the other day, so I thought that was kind of cute. But so it got me thinking about maybe I should start planning for Halloween as well, because it always, like, sneaks up on me, man. Even though it's at the same fucking time every year, I'm always kind of like, it's always, like, 2 weeks away, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't even, like, what am I going to get? What am I going to, now I don't have any money, and all this other kind of stuff. So maybe I should just, like, buy little pieces, like, over the year, and then I'll have it all together, you know?
They're playing with the little mice.
She really likes... I mean, you know, Auntie Ilse sent those. And, man, Pookie loves those.
She throws them with one hand, and she goes... Then she steps on them with her back feet.
She, like, kicks at them. She's so funny. If you don't throw the mice around for her, she's like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to do it myself. She picks it up in one paw and, like, slings it, and then chases after it.
Gramthars asked me, well, if you put another bar up there, won't it be just a new oasis for the roaches? When we moved in here, man, I found a lot of dead roaches. Fucking, there was a roach infestation. When I pulled that fucking dishwasher out, there was a bunch back there. Fucking, I vacuumed.
Now, not like big Florida roaches, like German cockroaches.
The little German ones.
Which are, in a way, like...
They're worse. They're worse.
In the infestation sense, they're worse.
Because they can get into anything.
And it's really, really hard to get rid of them.
But haven't seen them back, you know. Fucking, I went in there and cleaned all that shit out, vacuumed them all out, fucking washed the inside, disinfected. Because, you know, the people that used to live here, they were fucking nasty. But it's fixed. Haven't seen any roaches that scared me in terms of, like, that's an infester, you know.
I haven't seen any bugs in here. And and I have a coffee pot in here.
Every time...
Although I do keep it clean, but...
Every time I saw a roach in here, there's been twice since we've been in here. And it was because it was hot out and I had the windows open. Because they'll come into the windows. This is just... It's a constant battle. But I got everything. I got all the fucking sprays and everything. I got to fucking go around this house and make sure to respray again the outside. Just Florida... This is a subtropical area. They're going to try to get in. That's just, this is not, and you know, fucking people, some people say, you know, I've heard these fucking Yankees saying, oh, I can't move down there, the roaches. Well, I guess you've never been to fucking New York. New York City is one fucking roach infestation, one single roach infestation.
Yeah, but they're not like the big, huge, scary roaches like we have down here, which are alarming.
Yeah.
Alarmingly large.
Yeah, the thing is, though, like I said before, those big ones, we call them palmetto bugs. They're not infestors. They can infest a house.
I mean, but your house has to be pretty fucking...
You got to be fucked up to get those to infest your house.
They do come in your house if they have the opportunity.
That's not an infestation.
No.
An infestation is when they're fucking living and breeding in large numbers. And you got to call in a fucking fumigator, have the house fumigated. Those typically don't infest because they're big, so you notice it early on, and they come in one at a time and you kill them. They can't escape detection.
Or in our case, the kitties kill them.
Yeah, the kitties kill them. You got cats.
we find like a leg.
You'll find pieces of them. You're like, what the fuck happened? I've opened it in the middle of the night and seen Pookie jumping up and down 3 feet off the ground. And I'm going, what? And I grab the flashlight like that.
She's like, Daddy, look.
Yeah, and she'll be smacking one, looking at me.
Look,
get it. Yeah, because Pookie doesn't want to touch them.
And they were like,
She's
good girl. I don't blame her. I don't want to touch them either. They're dirty.
So I got to get up and fucking hunt. But she'll try to corner it. Get it. She'll help me. Now,
she's such a good girl.
Beige doesn't give a shit.
She'll just eat them.
She'll just fucking tear it apart in pieces and spit it out. And then sit back there like she did some shit. Like
she's
I
like,
killed that
that's
one.
right. With that big fluffy tail swishing.
Yeah. So, but the ones you got to worry about are these little tiny German cockroaches. Those are the ones you got to worry about. And some of them are like, they're smaller than a German cockroach. They're a black dot. Those are fucking bad. If they get into the house. And they come in through food. Because they come in through, if you can buy a package at a damn grocery store. If you went to the wrong grocery store, like a Walmart, and something sat there too long, they'll get into a package, you'll bring it into a house. And then they'll release themselves in your fucking pantry. And try to
like
make
a Trojan horse.
Like a Trojan horse.
For little bitty roaches.
You just gotta,
They're not so dumb.
It's a southern skill, you gotta fucking stay on top of it. You gotta leave poison out, spray regularly.
Well, and you can't leave anything. Like, you can't leave dirty dishes in the sink overnight.
No.
You can't leave anything out on your counters.
You gotta sweep mop.
You gotta, like, wipe down the counters,
Vacuum.
like, all the time. Because you can't let them get a foothold, man. And like I said, you don't have to be that dirty.
No.
But once they get a fucking foothold.
Once they get in, that's it.
Oscar says, you misunderstood, Tom. Gramthars is calling the customers at the Oasis roaches.
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while. I gotta go back. Maybe I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't, we don't have anything going on tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe I'll go tomorrow.
It's Saturday.
They were all out. His motorcycle's everywhere today. When I went out to go fucking buy the booze, they were everywhere. I was thinking.
Is it Bike Week? No.
No, Bike Week happened already.
No, it wouldn't have. It's usually in March.
Is it?
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
I used to live in Daytona. I know this shit.
I'm local. I don't worry about Bike Week.
I know, but
That's
I'm just saying that maybe that's why there were so many people out.
Maybe.
But Bike Week doesn't usually happen. Bike Week is usually sometime in March, and then Biketoberfest obviously is in mid to late October, depending. Somebody says, 1 in 100 says, thanks for a great show. Every film I liked watching growing up seems to be on your channel.
Yeah. Well, we did we're showing what we like. We're talking about what we liked and what we liked. Shit that you liked, basically.
And if we were the same generation as you,
right.
then a lot of us like what. Even though back then you didn't realize that other people were seeing the same shit. It wasn't until like I was much older and saw people the same age as me like reminiscing about the stuff that was on cable and stuff, and I was kind of like, media. Oh my god, yeah, because you didn't know back then.
You didn't know what other people liked.
Right.
A couple of days ago, somebody heard somebody in the comment section. I was going to mention it, but it went by without. And I went by and I forgot to mention it. Somebody was and I forgot who it was. Somebody had thanked me for talking about Hunter Prey, that they watched it and fucking loved it. Hunter Prey is a good movie. You can see it for free on YouTube. And
it's sad because it's not really streaming anywhere, and I think it needs more attention. Because, like I said, I'm really into supporting indie filmmakers, people that are really into making the movies. They don't need a lot of money, and if they're really good, then... And like I said, it's so much easier for them nowadays because there's so many streaming services. But it's a shame that one's not really on any streaming
the unofficial sequel to Enemy Mine.
Yeah.
And going back and looking at it, that motherfucker's manly as hell. That's a fucking... And everybody's an alien. It's macho aliens.
Macho aliens.
Macho aliens. Macho militarized aliens. Fighting on a damn desert planet. Talking shit on a desert planet. But it all kind of works out.
Like we do.
Yeah, like they do.
Amon Nagir says, "Oh, love the hair, by the way, Jenny. Thank you."
Yeah, I was saying she looks totally different with long hair and parted in the middle or on the side. She looks real different.
Well, I chopped
that black one parted in the. Remember the black one that was parted on the side?
It's black. Well, no,
or is it brown.
I don't have a brown wig.
Okay.
We discussed this.
Okay. Thought it was the real dark brown.
I have. Here's the wigs I have. I have this purple one. I have a short red one that's about shoulder length and kind of wavy and is kind of swept over to the side like this.
Remember that one?
I have one exactly like this, except it's green.
Yeah.
I have one that is parted in the middle and then is black on the top and then like ombre down into blue. Yeah. I have that. I have one that is black but shorter, kind of like a Betty Page type of situation. Although I don't like that one that much. It doesn't look that good.
It's a bob, right?
It's kind of a bob, but it's a little bit of a long bob. I don't like it because the what do you call them? The bangs are too long, and I put it on and I look like a Ramon, and I'm just like not into it.
Well, we can cut that.
Yeah, I need to cut it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it looks kind of like my real hair, so I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. I mean, when I bought it, like I saw it on the model, I was like, oh, that looks cute. But then when I put it on, I'm like, that doesn't look anything like the picture. But okay, she must have cut it. Is all I'm saying. And I have one that is red and curly that I bought when I was Amy from Fright Night.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like a big red, long, curly, or like I said, it looks like the chick from Brave, that animated movie. And I think that's it. And then I have some other like clip-in things. Like I have these big like black and red long ponytails. I wear those out a lot.
Yeah.
Although they usually give me a headache because they're very heavy.
We need to get you one that's nothing but braids.
Yeah, that would be cute.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, and I have like some ponytails that clip in that are bright red and that are like curly.
Yeah.
I think, is that it?
I don't think they sell braided ones. You probably have to make the braids yourself, huh?
They sell all kind of shit. They sell all kind of shit. I mean, it depends on how much you want to pay for the shit. I mean, obviously, the more elaborate the shit is, the more expensive it is. You can look on Etsy because there's like people on there selling all kind of like crazy fucking headpieces and shit. Now, some of them are expensive, and rightfully so because a lot of work goes into them. But, you know, you can...
John says that you look Mexican with that wig. That's funny.
I am decidedly not Mexican.
Yeah.
Cheryl says, Cinemassacre put up a great nostalgia video today. Brought back memories. Ooh, I'm going to have to watch that later. I like Cinemassacre. Did you see that he put up, and this is probably like this might have been back around Halloween. I don't know. I lost all sense of time. But he put up one that was like horror. It was Monster Madness. So it was around Halloween. It was Monster Madness around the world. And then he like edited all of them together. So it was like 3 hours long or something. And he talked about all these movies from like all these different countries. And it was so good. Like I just sat there and watched the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that guy. What's his name? James something.
Oscar says, in what universe does Jenny look Mexican? Look, Oscar, people are just going to say whatever, you know. They just say whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, my actual hair... it was like, well, because remember, it was like shaved underneath for a long time, and I guess I got lazy and stopped shaving it. Not necessarily because I wanted to, but just because I was lazy. And then, like, the rest of it was really long, and then I was like, man, this is looking, like, really fucked up, because underneath it's kind of growing out, and it's, like, short, but, like, not, I don't know, and it's just, like, at a really awkward length. And so it was, like, this weird thing where it kind of looked like I had a mullet a little bit. So then, like, the long part, I said, well, I'm just going to cut this short, like, to shoulder length, so at least it'll be closer to how long the hair underneath is. And then so it'll all grow to the same length quicker. But then, see, when I cut my hair short, my hair is very, the individual hairs are very fine, like baby hair, but I have a lot of hair. So when I cut it short, it goes poof, and, like, it makes this poofy triangle situation, and I'm not into it. So... I don't know. It's difficult. My hair just does not ever like to cooperate, which is why I started buying wigs. Because, man, I just get so depressed looking at my fucking hair sometimes. It's such a mess.
It's not just her, though. Fucking pretty much every goth girl that fucking we know, all the goth females, it's wigs.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
To be honest,
see all this shit. You'll see them on Instagram and all this stuff online. These fantastic fucking hair and all this looking, you just totally made up. These look like something off a damn movie, you know. It's wigs.
Yeah.
You can't get the human hair to do that.
Fuck no.
A lot of those girls just basically don't have hair. A couple of them don't. They're bald.
I don't think I haven't considered that. If I didn't have a huge, big, fat bowling ball of a head...
you do have a bowling ball of a head.
I know, I do. I'm aware. Thank you for backing that up.
It doesn't look like a bowling ball though when you have hair. When you have big hair, you can't tell.
I do, but I do have a big fucking. Well, I have a really round face. Yeah. You know, so, and I have, like, kind of a big head, so I don't know if it's a big head necessarily, but I just have, like, a round face.
You got a round face.
So, yeah, and, you know, I don't love it, but, you know, what are you gonna do?
Only way to get her face unround, she's got to be pretty underweight. Real underweight.
Yeah, the only time I actually kind of had a pointy chin was when I weighed, like...
90?
Much less than I should have weighed.
110? Would you weigh?
118 was the lowest I got, and I looked a little bit ill.
Her mom looked like Pia Zadora.
Yeah.
Pia Zadora fucking has a big chubby face, chubby cheeks and shit.
Yeah, I have like the kind of Linda Blair.
Yeah.
Pia Zadora face shape.
When she gains weight, she puts a lot of it on her face.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly. I wish that wasn't true, but genetics is a bitch.
The way you put on
genetics
weight.
Is a bitch.
It's funny. She'll only put on weight around her midriff and her face. Nowhere else.
Yeah, like the two places where I least want the shit.
Where it shows the most. It's brutal.
Gee, thanks, nature.
It's brutal.
See, nature hates me.
It's brutal.
Nature hates me.
Natural sucks.
It does.
That's why I'm just supernatural now. I said, fuck it. I go straight to chemistry. Well, you know, a lot of it is age, too.
I mean, if I could afford plastic surgery, I would probably get it. Not a lot. I don't mind my face normally. I just don't like I don't like the roundness.
We're at that age.
You know, I don't like the roundness, so I would like a better jawline. Yeah. But I don't mind my nose. I used to hate my nose when I was a kid. I used to think I had a big fat nose too, but I don't actually mind my nose now. But that's one thing I would fix.
We gotta take a trip to Thailand one of these days. The prices are a lot cheaper on that, but we have to go down there with a big wad of cash. See. And fucking a lot of fucking anabolics and stuff are fucking legal over the counter and cheap there. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of bodybuilders go there for vacations. You know what I mean? To fucking juice up on cycle, and they get plastic surgery. All right, I wouldn't mind being tightened up a little bit underneath here. I mean, fucking shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm 52.
They need to peel my shit off and like pull it, like put their foot behind my head and like pull it.
In the entertainment world,
staple that shit.
In the entertainment world, none of them motherfuckers are natural. They've all, unless they've made a living being fucking ugly, they're all doing little tweaks or here and there from the age of like 35. But it's so gradual. that you don't notice it.
I mean, if you do a little bit at a time, starting when you're younger,
yeah, that's what they're doing.
then that's probably the better way to go about it. Because if you wait until you look like hell and then you get a whole bunch of shit done, then it's gonna look like
just look at Burt Reynolds.
Then it's gonna look like super weird. Like I said, it's gonna
Reynolds,
it's gonna look like you're gonna look like fucking the Cenobites like pulled your face off and like you know what I mean, and they like stretched it over something else. It's like
they're doing it they're going to places like Thailand and Mexico. There's some places on the border of Mexico. At least there was. I don't know if it's still there, but just over the fucking border in El Paso, they've got some damn resorts down there. It's like a holiday resort. You stay there, and the doctors are working right out on the offices right there in that resort, and you get little things done $1,000 at a time. You know, and you stay there for a couple days in that damn resort healing up, and then you fly back. Because you can't really afford it here in the United States. The insurance is so much for these doctors. They want to charge you fucking $5,000 just for anything.
Well, yeah, I certainly cannot afford
and
it.
these are, and if you actually were to see a video of what they're doing, these are body modifications that our freaky friends would do to each other fucking for free without fucking anesthesia. And sometimes it'd be like fucking some of the people that we know that do all that piercings and shit. They do some fucking hardcore stuff without any fucking anesthesia. Like fucking Aurora will suspend herself from a ceiling with fucking spikes that are nearly like 3/4 of an inch in diameter.
Like her back.
Going through the muscles of her back.
Yeah.
And she just... all right, well... Some of that facelift stuff, I'm looking at it and going, yeah, I could do that.
I wouldn't let you do that to my face, though. I can't imagine how that would turn out.
The problem is the risk of something going wrong.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And that's the problem. You know, infection, although I'm pretty sure I can avoid that, or something happens and somebody starts bleeding out, or there's some kind of a reaction to fucking drugs.
Then what would you do? You'd be like, oh, shit.
What do you do now? Right, you know. So that's the risk. But, you know, the Romans would do it without anesthesia and without fucking... they knew that things had to be clean, but they would do surgeries on gynecomastia, guys that had bitch tits. They could fucking get up in there and do that. Evidently, they could do boob jobs, but they don't know how. It must have been fat transferal. Nobody knows what they were doing, but there's a couple of references to making breasts larger in Roman literature, ancient Roman literature.
Hey, you know, I don't know why my brain just went here, but remember when last night we were watching Smokey and the Bandit, and I said, man, I wonder what my CB handle would be? Yeah. I would like it to be bitch tits.
Bitch tits.
Just putting that out there.
We were watching Smokey and the Bandit last night. It was a fun movie to see it again after all these years.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. I saw it a million times when I was a kid. A million times.
Yeah, they play that shit forever on cable.
Amanda Gear says, what kind of necklace is that, Jenny? I always see you wear it. This is actually 2 necklaces. This one's just like a bead one. And this one here is, that's good old H.P. Lovecraft. Right there. I got that from a friend of mine. I think she got it from like an Etsy store somewhere that does like a bunch of ones like that. Gramthars Hammer says, I've been to Thailand. Can't say I'd get any form of intrusive surgery there.
No, they got good stuff there.
Whitney Graham says, good evening, Tom and Jenny. Hi. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Is weed legal in every state yet? I
don't know. Who cares?
I don't think so. But there's not that many left, though.
Yeah, and it really doesn't matter.
Oscar says Texas will be the last place to legalize it. Probably.
People get all hung up over that shit. Just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's not happening. Well, obviously. It doesn't mean you're not doing it. You know? There's a lot of shit that's illegal. Laws that are on the books that even the cops don't know that that's on the books. So it's just not enforced.
Honestly, you know what?
They don't give a shit about that.
I wish that I liked weed more.
Yeah, it's not that good.
Maybe I just never had any good shit, but...
I've had the best.
We'll see. Well, I mean, people react to it differently. Like, and I have a friend who, you know, has like a lot of anxiety, and she started doing it, and she's like really into it. And I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, that'd be kind of cool, like, because I sort of need to be mellowed out sometimes, because I'm, you know, I have a lot of anxiety, and like I always have like my brain's always going a mile a minute, and I wish I could like fucking chill out. And so I tried to do it a few times, and weed makes me even more anxious and paranoid, and I'm like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to do the opposite. I'm like, this is not fun. Not at all.
I always thought it was, I mean, I got friends that were fucking growing shit that was just fucking monstrous. It was always just a cheap drug to me, you know what I mean? And not that interesting. There's nothing compared to LSD.
See, I was a fan of LSD.
Yeah, LSD's great.
That did what I thought weed was going to do.
Yeah,
that made me feel like, oh man,
Yeah.
everything's all right.
LSD's a man's drug.
Woo.
Yeah.
It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And cocaine is fucking awesome, but it's very seductive and real expensive, and you have to know how to control that. Number one rule with cocaine is don't buy any. Don't buy cocaine. Only accept cocaine as a gift for free.
Then just do it one time, have a good time,
Yeah.
and then, you know.
Right. Never allow anybody to give you some free cocaine and then come back. Do you want any more of that? You go, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Because they want you to start buying. Yeah, no.
Gramthars Hammer said weed stores on every corner in Michigan. More weed stores than Starbucks. Well, yeah, because as soon as it got legalized in a lot of places, man, everybody like opened up a small business, as you would. I mean, you know. Cheryl said, I wish I liked weed too. Makes me nervous. Yeah, same.
It's not that good.
And somebody else, Murder Hornet Return says weed makes me paranoid. Same. You know, I did it a few times, like I said, hoping that it would like chill me out more. And all it did this really weird thing where it made me feel like, one, everyone's looking at me, which is bad. I don't really need to be feeling like that. Because I already kind of feel like
Makes
that.
you not want to move.
Well, it made me like 100 times more self-conscious.
Yeah.
Like I'm already self-conscious and I was like, okay, I don't need this shit. And also it made everything seem like I was missing like 5 or 10 seconds at a time. Like shit was like skipping ahead. You know what I mean? Like if you skip through a movie, like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. It seemed like that. And I was like, ooh, I don't like that either. I didn't like it.
In terms of drugs that you can smoke, the best one I ever had was opium. And that was when I was in Egypt. You could get opium, real good quality opium. You could just sit around, just relax and smoke opium. All right. Now, heroin is probably like 100 times that. Yeah, so I've never done that, but you can imagine what that would be like. I would never fuck with heroin. Because that would be like entering the realm of heaven or something. You would never want to come out of that. You'd just sit around and sleep.
Well, a lot of people did.
Yeah,
a lot of people do.
Fuck that.
I mean, as with everything, it depends on the person because it affects different people differently. Some people can take heroin and still kind of function.
Yeah.
Some people, not so much.
I've never seen anybody actually walk away from heroin unscathed, though.
True.
The dudes that I knew that did that, it kind of made them a piece of shit. And every one of them now, when I look back at all the guys that I knew that were dead, they're all dead now. Either by accidents or by their own hand. You know, because Rich killed himself on that.
And like I said, I can think of like some rock stars that did heroin a lot back in the day, like Nick Cave or Iggy Pop or something like that, who are still going and still look good and still have their shit together.
But it's because they slept.
But yeah, maybe that's why they're like preserved, and seem to have gotten away from it. But
you could never build a good body on heroin, though. You're going to be skinny or real fat or something. Depends on what you do. Skinny usually, because you'll be too wired to fucking eat. You won't really care.
Well, yeah, like
it's unhealthy, very unhealthy. But their metabolisms are moving so slowly. They sleep so much. They can live a long time. But Rich killed himself in an argument. Blew his head off in front of his girlfriend during an argument over fucking the volume of television.
Which sounds like more of a drunk thing than a heroin thing.
Yeah, he was drinking all the time also, but it was his brain was fucking frying out and he was losing all his friends because he was just loaded all the time. He was a great guy though. Liked him. He was an ex-Army veteran. Used to hang out with him up in Michigan. Not Michigan, should be Massachusetts, Boston. He was an old goth guy. And he was... Shit, I was in my late 20s at that time, and he was in his early 50s, and he looked like he was in his 30s, in real good shape. And he just kind of went from one 20-year-old goth chick to the next, over and over, these little goth stripper types. Because if you have heroin, you all of a sudden become very popular with women. because they're fucking junkies. You know what I mean? It's a
Well, with junkie women, you become popular. Not with all women, with junkie
when
women.
you see these girls, they're fucking. They're not what you would think a junkie would be like. You know what I mean? They're fucking. In those days, they had the heroin chic thing going on. This is '90s, and they were like goth fetish models. You know,
Yeah.
and he was a good-looking guy though, but you layer in the fact that he constantly had heroin, and he didn't have a. He had a job, but only kind of a little bit. He was the caretaker of the building that he was living in, that he lived in on Commonwealth Avenue, downtown Michigan, Boston in Massachusetts. So he had a really good job. He didn't have to go anywhere. He just go fix a pipe and then come back, and then he just fucking shoot up and fucking hang out with these girls and have sex with them and shit. He was always trying to have fucking threesomes and foursomes and shit, and fucking he'd have all these fucking hotties. They were like the girls from the Barbiturates, the dancers from Sleep Chamber.
Yeah.
It was those girls. It was another time, and it was funny because you'd be hanging out with them, and like, whatever happened to Merge, or some shit like that, because all these funny ass names, and like, oh her, oh she died, like what? Yeah, she died 2 weeks ago. She's dead.
I kind of feel like, and I don't.
It was like not a big deal to them. What happened? She OD'd.
I don't
It was
have.
like no big deal, It was like.
I don't have any numbers to back this up, but it does seem like Gen Xers are, like, a lot of them are dying young of shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But they would just talk about it like it was nothing. Oh, her? Oh, she's dead. And like, what?
That's nice.
She was just hanging out with us like a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? Fucking just hot. I could show you guys videos.
They're like, well, shit happens. People OD. I guess.
I'm gonna show you the videos of the girl I'm talking about.
Well, I guess they're so used to it happening that they're just kind of like, well, there goes another one.
I'm gonna find
up.
it. There's a video of the girl that I'm talking about on YouTube. I'll show it to you.
Cheryl says, I have some mushrooms, too scared to take them. LOL. I was actually, and then Zach says, I'm worried if I took LSD, I'd wake up afterwards in a drainage ditch, probably missing an arm and my dick, LMAO. Honestly, I was a little bit nervous to take it, but the thing about LSD is that the experience that you have is largely dependent on how you kind of go into it. I was like kind of excited to take it. You know what I mean? I'd always kind of wanted to.
Yeah.
And
this is the girl I'm talking about. Hold on. They're going to show her here in a minute. That's her. I asked where she was. She goes, oh, she died. Yeah. But that's what they looked like. That's my friend John there. He's singing. This is like, I don't know, 96? Yeah, died.
well, we just got demonetized.
Why would that be demonetized?
Because that might be copyrighted and also ass.
No, it's on YouTube.
All right,
That's YouTube.
We'll see.
That's YouTube.
We'll see. But the thing about LSD that I enjoyed was that you got all the best stuff of being drunk, as in lack of inhibitions, kind of more fun, more that kind of thing, like open-minded, but it didn't have, like, you didn't have the blackout aspect of, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you get drunk and you just, like, start babbling and, like, fucking, you forget what you said the next day and stuff. It didn't have that. You were still, like, really lucid. It's, like, really hard to explain if you haven't done it, but you're still lucid. You're still aware of everything, but so it's almost kind of like you see all this weird shit, but you know that it's not real, you know?
Really?
But yeah, so it was like that. So I really enjoyed that experience, you know? Murder Hornet Return says, my dad was an alcoholic and he recently switched to THC gummy bears and he quit alcohol. Wow. Forza Down says, I used to enjoy mushrooms. They gave me the worst hangovers I've ever had. That's the thing about LSD is that I will tell you that you will feel like absolute crap the next day. Absolute crap. Like it was, I actually went to work the next day and Man, I've been to work hungover lots of times, more times than I'd like to count. I know it's terrible, but this was by far the worst. But it was so fun. I didn't really mind all that much, but man, the next day, god damn, I felt awful. Mostly just sore. Like everything was sore. My face was sore. I don't know. It's not even the same thing as a hangover. It kind of felt like, I don't even know what it felt like, but it was like worse.
Having that big fucking smile on your face all night.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah, like my face like was all the muscles in my face were sore. Let's see. Where was it? Okay, we got some more Russian bots. Thank you very much, Zach. If Gen X is dying young, imagine how millennials will be with the Forever Ways double econ crashes of the pandemic all in the last 20 years. Yeah, you know. We'll see how it goes. I hope you guys do better than we do, but... Tammy says, my uncle was a 63-year-old pothead, found out a former teacher's mid-60s is one also. And... Murder Order returns. Shrooms grow wild outside the hospital here. Sent Tom pictures. He can vouch.
Yeah.
Gramthars Hammer said, true story, when I was a game warden in Oregon, a guy ate a bunch of peyote, then got into a 160-degree hot spring in the desert. He died and cooked for a week. He came apart like a crock pot chicken.
Damn.
Oh, shit. That was, pro tip, that was too much peyote.
Yeah.
That was too much peyote. Maybe do a little bit less than that.
There had to be something more to it than that.
You don't want to be, like, looking like...
There had to be something more to it than that.
Looking like the fucking canned chicken out of your Instant
he might
Pot.
have passed out from maybe, like, heat exhaustion in there.
Maybe.
But peyote is not that strong, really.
What's Tom's favorite marinade to use on chicken?
It depends on what kind of chicken I'm making. We talking about some Italian or Mexican, or we talking what kind of chicken are we talking about?
Yeah, because we make a lot of Mexican food.
Yeah, there isn't,
and a lot of Indian food.
There isn't just one marinade. You know, there's a bunch of them.
Gramthars Hammer said I drove his remains to the medical examiner in 2 body bags in the back of my work truck. Shit. Did anybody make a joke about like making them into soup or anything? I mean, why did my brain go there? I don't know, but that's like what I thought of. I guess because I've been watching a lot of food videos lately. Maybe that's why.
Oscar says, damn, that sucks. She was hot. Yeah, she was very hot. So I was asking about where she was. She was only probably about 23, 24. She was also a stripper, but she was one of John's performance artists when he put on a show. He had about 6 or 7 of them, and they were always hanging out at the parties, and it was a drug scene, very much so. They were very cool. They weren't dumb or anything. They were fucking kind of cultured. It was kind of like something out of, I don't know, kind of like something out of the Velvet Underground, or it's kind of like Andy Warhol-ish type scene. The problem is that they thought they were immune to things. No, fucking there are repercussions to what you do. And a lot of them died.
Yeah.
It's not just then, though. I mean, we know people that have died recently out of our scene. In the past couple years, it was 6-7 years, fucking Mike Stone died.
That's right. That was...
A lot of the girls that fucking he hung out with who were hot as shit, they died. You were like, oh yeah, she died. And they were like, and they were just kind of new to the scene. We never even really got to know them. You remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's a couple of real cuties that were
Yeah,
around.
I know who you're talking about.
And you saw them for like a couple months and then never saw them again. You find out that they died. And never any details, but you just know it was drug related.
Although the weird thing is like, yeah, that's happened, but then we've had people die or so from like natural causes.
Cancer.
Like cancer.
Cancers and brain
car
tumors.
accidents, brain tumors, like that kind of stuff. Like young ass people, not even Gen X, younger.
The Z.
Yeah, Gen Z, not even millennials.
Yeah, not even Z. Some of them just turned up dead.
Which, crazy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I was thinking that, because we do actually, and it didn't have anything to do with like drug overdoses or anything. Although we do know some people that died of drug overdoses like recently, but we've had some, we talked about our friend Kaylee who died from cancer. Yeah. She was 34.
Yeah.
She just unlucky. She just got cancer and died.
Didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, we have 2 other friends that have cancer that are still alive.
And she was like a good friend of ours.
Yeah, we used to take her we used to pick her up and drive her every week.
Yeah.
To the club. We used to go to Venue 13 every fucking week with her.
Making out in front of her?
That's
all kinds
true.
of shit.
That's true.
All kinds of crazy shit happened. And then it turned out she croaked. Got married, she married a chick. And then died. Then they broke up and she died.
Yeah, her wife. Well, they were still legally married, yeah, because I mean.
No, they weren't.
Oh, weren't they? They were still divorced.
Got
okay.
Divorced, and then turned out she had cancer and died.
Yeah. Because I remember hearing that they got divorced because they moved away.
Yeah.
They moved to where? North Carolina? I want to say, or Georgia, or somewhere.
Like
Georgia or North Carolina? I can't remember.
Yeah, she's a little bitty goth girl. Her mom was Mexican. She's a little half Mexican goth chick, real cute.
I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
Gramthars Hammer said, "Is ecstasy big in the goth scene?"
No.
Now, you know what? Nowadays,
that's an old one.
I don't really know if there's anything, unless, you know,
Molly.
Maybe, yeah, I guess.
So that's the closest thing to that. That's around, but...
But you don't really see it like you used to. I mean, like, back in the 70s, 80s, you know, everybody was on something.
Yeah.
Most people were on something.
Drugs have kind of taken a hiatus. Nobody really cares about that shit.
It's like people will do, like, pretty much everybody, well, not everybody, because not me, but, like, most people smoke weed. Okay, that's not even considered weird.
Yeah.
That's, like, not even a drug.
Right. They're not even enforcing that one.
Right, that's what I mean. So it's just kind of like, that's just kind of like a whatever.
That's why they said, is it legal? We're laughing. They're like, oh, what the fuck? This is fucking Florida.
It doesn't matter.
This is fucking Florida.
Well, honestly,
in the 80s and 90s, you could go to a club and they'd have a pile of cocaine and they'd be snorting it.
Yeah.
Down in Miami.
Even though technically it was
that was illegal as fuck, and they were snorting cocaine in the clubs. They didn't care what was illegal. This is Moss Isley Starport here, basically.
But yeah,
they don't care.
I mean, so like most people smoke weed, you know, regularly or occasionally. No one cares about that. Other than that, you don't really see a proliferation. Not in the goth scene, really. Like you said, like kind of like, you know, like Molly or things like that. I know a couple people that do that sometimes, but. Not really. You don't really see a lot of it. Honestly,
the only thing that
man, you don't even see that many like goths anymore that smoke.
Yeah.
I know maybe.
And then vaping. They all started vaping like me, and then they stopped vaping.
And then they stopped vaping.
Because you don't need to vape.
I know. Out of our friends, I think I remember like 2 people that still smoke cigarettes. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
But it's not a drug scene, really. I mean... I think really what's replaced a lot of those drugs is social media. Social media, I think, has replaced a lot of drugs. They're getting their endorphin highs from fucking posting pictures.
Well, people have more options. They have like other things to do. Because I do kind of feel like a lot of times you got into drugs because what the fuck else was there to do? Especially if you grew up in like some shitty town and you couldn't go anyplace.
It was a rite of passage to get into a scene of friends.
Sure.
A lot of it had to do with that.
And nowadays you don't really have to do that anymore. And no one cares. Like it's not necessarily cool or uncool. Like no one really gives a shit about it anymore. Which I think is good. I think that's like a much healthier way of looking at it.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, fine. If you don't want to do it, also fine.
It's
no
like,
one's going to like shit on you about it.
Here in the United States, you had to be 21 to drink alcohol. Well, me growing up in Brazil... There was a drinking age. I think it might have been about 16 or 18, but even that wasn't enforced. Everybody was drinking, but they weren't drinking in excess because drinking was not seen as any form of liberation or any form of like, well, I'm an adult now, or there was no
I'm an adult.
Yeah, there was no taboo against it. I mean, little kids grow up drinking wine at the dinner table in Brazil. They don't give a shit about that. And beer is considered. Oh, beer has alcohol in it. That's the kind of the fucking.
Really?
Beer has alcohol in it.
Who knew?
It's like they wouldn't even know. Beer was just. It was everywhere.
I mean, not much. It doesn't have much alcohol in it.
So people make a big deal out of shit.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever drunk enough beer to get drunk in my life. I would fall asleep before I drank enough beer to get drunk.
You spend more time pissing than anything else.
That too.
Yeah.
Beer just makes me very, very sleepy.
Make you fat too.
Well, yeah. I'm not a big fan of beer.
Like liquid bread.
I like some of it. Like I like kind of coffee stouts. I like that kind of stuff. But I'm not like a big beer connoisseur. Like I said, I've drunk it times when, we were at a place that didn't have a liquor license, so all they had was beer and wine. So, I'll have a couple then, but it's just kind of like, it just mostly makes me sleepy and just makes me want to pee a lot, so I don't...
Sure, was that the ice maker noise? No, I got a guy downstairs working on the front lawn.
Yeah.
I've had guys in and out working on damn sprinklers.
All the landscapers are here, the sprinklers were kind of broken, and like somebody's fixing that. So, yeah, if you hear noises, it's workmen. We have like workmen at the house.
They've been working here all week.
Yeah.
Because once the sale went through, then I started to worry about what the house looked like on the outside. And the landscaping was fucked up.
It was a bit. Yeah. I mean, not terrible, but...
I turned the damn sprinklers on fucking today and noticed that there was a damn leak coming out. And they went down there and found the leak and got it out of there.
Well, now, wasn't the guy just here last week fixing it?
Yeah, but the thing is that it took a while because the people that lived here before weren't running it on a regular basis. So, that was something we missed. There was a small leak there. It was in a T-joint. I saw it. It was spraying out of there at high pressure. Didn't cost us anything, though.
Well...
But no, it cost me $100 to have him fix that. But I found out that...
That's not bad, though.
I found out that our water meter doesn't seem to be working. Yeah. We were sitting there watching it, and it was like, that thing's not... that the leak wasn't registering. So next time,
shh! Don't tell anybody.
So next time I run the water sprinkler system, I'm gonna sit there and watch that thing.
Let's just pretend that we didn't.
And see if it's actually registering water, because I have two sources of water. I got drinking water comes from one source, and then the landscape water to water this lawn. This lawn is almost an acre, so I got a big sprinkler system. I'm going to put a big-ass fucking garden in the back. It's going to look like a decorative garden. And
we need some privacy.
A lot of the trees and a lot of the plants in that garden will yield food.
Because, the backyard is big, but it's open.
It's like open life,
the next house is far away.
Down there, right, yeah.
But it's all open up to that, and I don't love that. I want to
put some fruit trees. I want to put an avocado tree out there.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah, I want to put tomato plants, but I'm going to have it.
Yeah, let's have some tomatoes.
I'm going to have them in areas that look decorative. So I don't want it to look like my grandparents' fucking, Mississippi sharecropping fucking shotgun house.
Yeah, you want it to look
rows
nice.
Of corn and all that shit. Now I'm going to have it.
Nice, functional, but nice.
Yeah, it's going to look like
but also aesthetically
a decorative
pleasing.
Garden, but you'll be able to go out there and eat.
See, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could have some citrus trees.
Pumpkins.
Some pumpkins.
Watermelons.
Yeah.
Shit that grows easy. Tomatoes.
Yeah, pumpkins and watermelons are very, very easy to grow.
They're just easy to grow, right?
Very easy. Tomatoes also pretty easy to grow.
Avocado trees. I'll put an avocado
That would
tree
be
out
lovely.
there.
That would be lovely.
Get one that's already kind of grown and have it buy it and grow it up.
Yeah, you can just go to like fucking Home Depot and shit like that, man.
Avocado trees in a couple years.
Or go to that nursery up where down the street from where we used to live. What was that place called? There was this big, massive nursery that was like right on there. We went there and got sod one time. I can't remember what it was called though.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have it so you can walk through it, and I'll have stones and benches and shit. I'll probably put some solar lighting on it.
Put a koi pond.
What's that?
You gotta put a koi pond.
Put a koi pond in that bitch. Yeah, why not? I'll eat them.
Don't eat the koi.
Not the koi, but I'll put fish in there. You can eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if the HOA might be like, you can't put a pond in your backyard.
Yeah, you
Knock
can.
it off.
You can.
You might be able to. Yeah.
You can put a pond back there. Well, it's got to be decorative. The waterfalls and the little fountains and shit. And you can put fish in there and eat them. It doesn't have to be deep. It only has to be a foot deep.
It's like, I just feel so
and
bad.
the alligators show up and they got alligators.
That's what I mean. I don't want like fucking alligators. And then Beijing goes out on the back porch and she's like, Pookie doesn't go outside, so I'm happy about that.
Put bullfrogs out there and pull them bullfrogs out.
But Beijing still likes to go sit on the back porch and like fuck around the house sometimes. And I was just like, so I kind of worry about her. But, let's see, where was I? Cheryl says, I sold weed for years before it was legal. Don't think I haven't thought about like fucking selling that shit for some extra money.
Gramthars says, I'll super chat 50 if you go open a door and yell La Migra at the landscapers. No, it's white dudes. They wouldn't even know what that is.
It's white dudes.
My landscapers are Anglo-American.
Gramthars also said several classmates from Trenton High class of 87 have died in recent years. Diabetes, COVID, colon cancer, couple suicides. Gramthars did.
Oh, yeah. I don't see it.
It's pretty far up. Well, yeah, because I'm trying to like answer people's questions.
Oh, I see.
Actually, yeah, shit, man. I got a message from my mom the other day, and she said almost all of my mom's side of my family has COVID. So.
Yeah. And no, LSD does not act like truth serum. No.
It's a whole different vibe. It's a whole different vibe. It's really, really hard to explain. I was trying to explain it to a friend of ours who wanted to do it but hadn't done it. And so I told her, I said, well, if I do it, I'll call you and try to like talk you through what it's like. But it's hard to describe.
Out of them all, it's the best one. I've tried them all.
It's really hard to describe.
I've tried them all, and I would say LSD.
It's not like being drunk.
No.
It's not like weed. It's not like, I don't know. It's different.
It's not like morphine. It's not like it's its own thing.
Yeah, it's a totally different sensation. I liked it though.
You feel totally coherent. Totally coherent.
Mm-hmm. I remember everything I said on it. I remember everything I felt on it. I remember everything.
Yeah, you can drive on it if you're disciplined.
I wouldn't have.
Me and Steve Rouse used to drive on it in high school all
because
the
I
time.
tried to type on my laptop and my laptop kept going like that, and I'm just like, well, god damn it.
You have visual hallucinations, but you don't you don't believe them.
Yeah, you know it's not real.
You know it's not real.
But it is kind of when I was trying to type on my computer, I was like, well, this is frustrating. Right. I knew that it wasn't really doing that. Yeah. Like, I know my laptop isn't breathing.
Yeah,
but...
And you see things, but it's mostly in your mind, and you know it.
Yeah.
You know. Just... To me, I thought it was just... It's just... Man, I don't want to sit here and endorse these damn drugs. It's a hard one to find. You have to have good connections nowadays. Because it's not quite a moneymaker. LSD doesn't have a long shelf life. It's not a street drug anymore. So you have to know people that can make it. Or you have to know people that can make it.
Yeah.
And it's blotter. It comes on paper. And some of the stuff that adheres it and fixes it to the paper may not be all that good for you. So really the best way to go is fucking liquids, which is like LSD 25, but it has a very short shelf life. Usually that comes out of university biochemistry departments. So, and some people just know how to make it too. But like I said, it's not streetable. You know. If you guys think that rich people don't do drugs, you're fucking tripping. All those private islands and all those fucking yachts that have billionaires on them, they don't follow any of those drug laws. They go everywhere they need to go. They don't go through customs or anything. And they have fucking whole 55-gallon fucking barrels full of fucking exotic, custom-made drugs that are made in their chemical plants. When they went to fucking Epstein's Island, there was a whole support network. You can see it. They showed it for the Videodrome, or the drone footage. They had a kind of a support maintenance area, and in there they had 50-gallon drums of chemicals that were not illegal. They were legal. And they were made at Jeffrey Epstein's drug manufacturing facilities that he had, because he made pharmaceuticals also, or knew people that made pharmaceuticals. And they said that one of the things that was in there was a cocaine analog that you could snort, and it felt like cocaine. But chemically it wasn't. So it would fail a cocaine test if you were to test it for cocaine. And one of the things that was weird about it is that it was engineered where you could snort it and get the effects of cocaine until you reached a certain point. Like, it might be good for a day, but eventually you started snorting it, and it would do something to your nervous system to make you nauseated. And so you would reject it. You wouldn't get high on it. You go, ugh, I don't want it anymore. So it was
like a Clockwork Orange situation.
It was like a Clockwork. Well, the situation was they were making it was a cocaine analog that had a safety in it.
Right.
That would prevent you from...
Which seems pretty smart.
It prevented you from becoming addicted to it. So you really loved it until it built up into your system, and your nervous system would start to reject it a few hours later.
I don't want
and you go, oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. And you couldn't snort it for another couple days after that. But they had other ones that they would go to. That's the only one I remembered. I think there were 2 other ones. They were analogs of other drugs. So they would hand them out at parties, and they'd have fun with them, and then they'd, I don't want that one anymore, and then move on to another one. And you couldn't get addicted to any of them. And they didn't have any street names. They were just something that they were making in their own personal laboratories where they make pharmaceuticals. Because they're in the medical industry. They own medical industry stuff. So there's shit out there that never hit the street. Only billionaires and friends of billionaires fucking know about it. And they don't even sell it. They just give it to one another.
Cheryl says there's a hippie town an hour from here. You can find all kinds of psychedelics pretty easy.
Yeah.
Oscar says lawyers love coke. Yeah, I've heard that. Gramthars said Steve had a buddy named Mike Griffor,
Yeah.
who did 10 years in the pen for cooking up some new version of ketamine at the University of Michigan Chem Lab.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about the same people, bro. All kinds of weird shit happened at the University Chemical. Man, you get me to say this shit on YouTube. But that's common knowledge in law enforcement. A lot of these exotic drugs come from university chemistry laboratories. And the guys that come from
they can make all the good
They
shit.
can make anything. And there's no way to control it. Controlling things like drugs and guns and fucking all these things that people think are taboo, it's a fucking losing battle. You'll never win that. The best thing to do is to legalize all that stuff and control it and try to regulate it to keep it out of the hands of kids. And to let people understand what the effects of this stuff is and the bad things it can do to you if you take too much of it. People have to be confronted with excess. The problem is that there are a lot of people that are sub 100 IQ people in the world, and if you put them in contact with some of these substances, they kill themselves with it. Okay, well, there are always evolutionary bottlenecks. There are people that don't exist anymore because they could not really survive in a world that had gin in it. Okay? But distillation has been around for over 100 years now, almost 200 years. Distillation is not killing people at the rate that it did back in the 1700s. Okay? It's best if you let the human race come in contact with things that may challenge them to help strengthen the human race. That's the way I want to say it. If not, then there's no progress. Distillation was a problem in the 1700s. But why in the 1700s? It's not really a problem now. Because the people that were susceptible to distilled alcohol, that would destroy themselves in the face of distilled alcohol, they're not as numerous as they used to be. And the first one was gin. Gin was the crack of the 1700s. They thought it was the end of the world that gin existed. And I don't see people killing each other fucking with machine guns in the street over gin. Do you?
That would be really weird if you saw that.
Yeah. Those problems fucking go away with time. And people just gonna have to realize that you can't control everything. You have to let nature take its course. We see things from the viewpoint of governments and religions and ideology, and all reality does not. Things don't work if you look at reality through the lens of government, religions, and ideology. Nature does what it wants to do, no matter what you think of it. You just can't control things. Not for long.
Danny Rolling Ghostface says the effects of LSD is like dreaming while awake with heightened sight and sound senses, in my opinion.
Kinda.
It is kind of like that.
Better, though.
But yeah, it's better in the sense that you're very, because, you know, when you have dreams, it's always kind of like scattered and like all over the place. Yeah. Whereas on LSD, you have the best of that, but you also are really like hyper aware of everything.
You start having out of body experiences.
Well, and like I said, one thing that I liked about it made everything, like even mundane things, look awesome. Really beautiful. Yeah. Like, oh my God, the texture of this wall. Right. You know, it's like, oh my God, we had like the TV had turned itself on and it had like that, the screensaver type thing. And we went up there and looked at it and it was just these gorgeous, like swirling colors. Yeah. And we were talking about like how beautiful it was. So it makes everything look like really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And it made me feel, like I said, it made me feel like everything was like okay. Yeah, you know what I mean?
You get a feeling of well-being.
Yeah.
And it's all in your mind, and you know it's in your mind, and you don't care about it. It's a good one. The smarter you are, the more pleasant it will be for you. The dumber you are, the more horrifying it will be. I've noticed that because I've just seen it. I've seen it personally. People who are kind of dumb can't handle it because they think that they're going fucking crazy. They can't rationalize their way out of it. They try to control it, and that's not what you do. You're supposed to just go with it. You can't.
Yeah, I mean that's why I wanted to try it because as a creative person, I said I want to
make another one.
I wanted to see what it was like. Yeah. I said I wanted to maybe like open up some perception or something like that. It's like I wanted to think of some shit I didn't think of before. So I went into it with a very positive mindset, which might have influenced why I enjoyed myself so much on it, because it just seemed like a very, very positive experience. Like it made me feel like, oh man, everything's like so awesome, and everything looks so awesome, and everything's like beautiful and connected and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my god, now I sound like a Grateful Dead fan. Oh shit. You know what I mean? And I was like kind of aware that I was like, oh yeah, okay, see, now I know what they're talking about. I said now I know what all the hippies are talking about when they're talking about everything's connected, man. It does like kind of feel like that, but not in a hippy dippy way. It's actually like kind of a cool, like profound sort of way. I don't know. Cheryl says cocaine sucks, like going to the dentist. I've only done it once and it didn't really, I don't know. It wasn't really.
Snicker is so awesome.
I know.
It's just sitting there.
Oh, is this the coconut? Okay.
Yeah, that's coconut.
So I had a screwdriver because I was finishing up the last of the plain vodka. But he went today and got coconut vodka. Yeah. This is coconut vodka, and you got pineapple juice, like a G. So we got kind of like a pina colada action going on here. Ha ha ha! Jenny's a hippie, and that's the thing. It's like, I was like really aware, like as it was going on. I'm like, oh my god, I sound like a dirty hippie. It's like I hate that, but I was like, I get it though. I get like why they're like that. I never like wanted to go follow the Grateful Dead around because fuck that, but because that's like some lame ass shit. If an older someone wanted to experiment, do you recommend taking LSD with a group of people or alone? Don't take it alone, especially if you've never done it before, because you don't know how it's gonna go. It's always better to have at least one other person. Doesn't necessarily have to be a bunch of people, but have at least one other person there that's done it before, preferably multiple times. And if something goes wrong, or if you start freaking out or something like that, they will be able to like talk you down from it. I don't advise going anywhere. Like the first time you do it, don't go any place that's not your house. Like the first time I did it, it's like it was me and Tom, and he's like, okay, we're gonna do it in the house, and he's like, because I gotta watch you. Just because you don't know, like you don't know how it's gonna affect that person. You don't know if that person's gonna be like, woo, I'm gonna tear off my clothes and go like run down the street. Okay, so not everyone's gonna do that, but some people might. So you have to kind of regulate it. So.
Regulate? What you regulating?
No, somebody like Jeffy Art asked if you've never done it before, do you advise doing it by yourself or doing it with a group of people?
No.
And that's what I said. It's like you should have at least one person that's done it before, like multiple times, that can help you out.
If you don't go anywhere, you stay at home.
That's what I said. Don't go any place on it if you've never done it before, especially. Because you don't I didn't do anything crazy, but at one point I did think.
You tried to leave the house.
I wasn't gonna leave the house.
Yeah.
I thought. Well, I didn't think I was a werewolf.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't a werewolf.
You wanted to act like a werewolf.
But I wanted to act like a werewolf, and I said I'm gonna go out in the backyard and roll around in the grass, like a werewolf would, I guess. And
no, you're not going.
And Tom's like, no, you're not. Let's do something else. Let's watch some David Bowie videos or something like that. You know what I mean? So he had to
And David Bowie's talking to me
steer
through
me
the
in
screen.
Yeah, I remember
from back
that.
in the 70s. I'm going,
He's like,
look what he said, look what he said.
He's talking to me across time.
He's talking to me, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, he totally is.
But I know it's all hallucination.
Yeah, you know he's not, really. But you're kind of, it's almost kind of like you're playing into...
You're playing into it and just...
Yeah. That's why it's hard to explain. You know it's not real, but you're just playing into the fantasy.
Doorbell rang and me and Jenny ran. And hide.
Have we told this story before? Oh my God, that was so fucking funny.
I said, it's the mailman. And I know the mailman. So I go, I'm going to go see what he wants.
We were freaking out. We didn't know who it was. The door, and we were like, oh, fuck.
Mailman.
It's like Tuesday afternoon or something. We were both off work.
He goes, hey, he goes, hey, you know, Mr. Ross got a package. And I go, okay, hold on. I got to sign for it right here on the tin. I said, okay, hold on. Let me sign for it. And I went, dude, I'm really fucked up on LSD right now.
He's like, I'm high as
you are? Because, yo, I'm high as fucking balls on LSD. He goes, it's going to be all right, man. Just sign on it. He's laughing. I remember what happened when the doorbell rang. The first thing I thought was, is that the cops? And then Tom's like, shit. And I was like, shit. And we ran into the walk-in closet. And I said, we got to look and see who it is. Because there was a window in our walk-in closet at the old house. Yeah. But it was too high up, and you couldn't really see. Mailman.
And then he was like, it's the mailman. I'm like, what do we do? Mm-hmm. And then we're like in the closet. And then I was like, oh my God, this is like ridiculous. Yeah. Like I knew it was ridiculous, but we were still kind of like freaking out at the same time. And I was like, go to the door. Go see what he wants. Yeah. And so like he goes to the door. And yeah, he just told the person, he's like, dude, I'm high as balls right now.
Yeah, I'm tripping balls on
And the dude was like.
He's like, oh, okay.
All right. Like I said, it was like Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. I was off work that day. And he's like, because we had bought the LSD like a couple weeks before, and he's like, oh, you're off work. Oh, we're doing this today, and I was just like, okay, because we didn't have anywhere to go. So it's like, I'm sure that mailman probably still tells that story. He's like Tuesday afternoon, and these two fucking people were like high as balls running around their house, like pretending they were werewolves. Holy shit. It was fun though.
I'm on gear. I didn't get your answer.
Five stars would do again.
I'm on gear. Didn't get the answer to his question earlier.
Wait, what was it?
I didn't see the answer.
What was it?
I didn't see the question.
Do it with a close friend, only not around a group or family ever. Yeah, just do it with somebody that's done it a bunch of times before, and
don't look at yourself in the mirror too long.
Oh yeah, that's another.
Don't focus on anything too long.
That's another thing. Yeah. Don't look at yourself. I did, but not for a long time. But a lot of people like look at themselves in the mirror and they look like all distorted, and that upsets.
As long as you're not uptight or worried or scared, you'll have a pleasant experience.
Go into it.
You gotta be positive.
Go into it being like, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. What you do is you take the blotter and cut it in half first, and take that. And wait 45 minutes for that to
you got to take a while.
And you go, oh, okay, I see what this is, and then you can take the rest of it.
And then take the rest of it. Yeah. He said something about, I don't know, cocaine was always not for me. It bored me. I'm not into stimulants. I'll drink coffee once in a while, and that's enough for me.
That's not a question.
I'm not, that's not a question. But, well, that was just, like, something that I saw. Yeah, I'm not super, like, I don't need stimulants. I'm spazzy enough as it is. I need, like, shit that's gonna, like, fucking chill me out. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was upset that, like, the few times I tried weed and I was like, I thought this was supposed to, like, mellow me out. This is, like, totally not working. But...
I would never fucking smoke crack. Because crack is fucking... That would get a grip in you. All right? You just see a crackhead and you're like, oh, fuck, man, he's all fucked up. But old powdered cocaine from back in the day was great at waking you back up. You're at a party and you've just been drinking too fucking much. You're getting ready to pass out. You just fucking snort a couple lines and you're totally sober. It just counteracts the alcohol, and you can go right back to drinking. We used to do that.
Yeah, I don't think I need that either.
When it starts to wear off, it starts to crash though. You're like, oh, whoa. But
I especially couldn't do like, bitch, my old ass is almost 50 years old.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't think I could. Well, as it is now,
this is late 20s, and
when now when we do the show and we drink on the show, if I have like 2 or 3 drinks, it's gonna take me like a day and a half to recover. Like, I can still do shit, like I can still function, but I'm like, god damn, I'm so fucking tired, and I'm like dragging ass. But that's just happens when you get older, I guess.
Yeah.
The question was, I asked what your opinion is on methadone.
Oh, methadone? Any fucking junkie that I knew was on methadone was fucked up just as much by the methadone as they were for the fucking heroin.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I lived in the UK at the time when, and I'm not saying I think it's better to, if you have heroin addicts or something like that, they at least put them in a treat. They didn't put them in prison. They at least put them in a treatment program and tried to wean them off of the shit. And
it's about money, man. I would never have given those dudes methadone. You know what I would have done? Make them smoke opium. Opium would have alleviated a lot of the problems. And opium is a lot more manageable than heroin. A lot more. You can smoke opium and walk away from it.
I've never smoked opium, although
it's
that's
nice.
another one I'm more into. Like I said, I'm more into mellowing out or hallucinogenics.
It's not.
I don't need shit that makes me more spazzy or more anxious. I don't need that.
All that opium and heroin shit. It's more about fucking falling asleep and fucking becoming a nothing and doing nothing and. No, it's like anesthesia. I never really saw the. I can understand that being hit by if you were to inject heroin, you'd be hit by a wave of heaven, but you wouldn't do anything. You'd just sit there.
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of them do. They just kind of laid around.
What's a lot
Which
more
from their point of view, they're probably having a good time, but from everyone else's point of view, they're like, get up, you bum.
Get up. But when I was in Egypt, we'd sit out there in fucking Dahab, out in the fucking Sinai Peninsula. They'd be pumping out Jimi Hendrix and fucking Pink Floyd and shit. And you'd sit there with a hookah and you'd smoke opium, which is a nice fucking smoke. It's very heavy, oily smoke. You don't cough it. You don't cough, even if you're not a smoker. It immediately just anesthetizes your lungs. You don't cough it back up. And it's just kind of like liquid grapes. It's got a nice... It's a very nice tobacco.
Well, see, now that sounds really delightful.
And I would put its power about there with alcohol. So very easy to control. And then eventually you'll kind of fall asleep and you wake up, you just feel satisfied and just walk off. It's not like, I gotta have more of that. It's kind of like you're satisfied.
And it's not like alcohol where you wake up being like, what the fuck did I do last night? Oh.
No hangover or anything, just real fucking...
It's like, I have dry mouth and I feel kind of nauseated and I have a headache. And
No, just real fucking restful sleep,
See, I like the sound of that.
Yeah. I can't understand why alcohol would be legal, but opium wouldn't.
See, that's very weird.
About the same.
To me, it seems like you're either going to legalize all that. It should be like all or nothing. Because, look, we like our alcohol.
Yeah.
You know that. But, there's other drugs that it seems like the effects of them are either the same as alcohol or even less. And yet those drugs are still illegal.
Yeah. It's cultural.
Which seems very, it is. It seems very silly to me.
You can't have opium in, say, the Middle East. Or, excuse me, you can't have alcohol in certain Middle Eastern countries. Like Egypt didn't like distilled alcohol. You could have wine and beer, but they didn't like whiskeys. That was illegal. We were drinking them anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
fuck them. We were the cops of that area.
Well, if you had money over there, it's just like everything else. In the Middle East, people have money, always fucking skirt the laws.
Yeah. So if you were to... Well, they're partying on compounds. There's no law enforcement. They're in these palaces and compounds and shit. They just don't want it in public. But by law, really, say in Saudi Arabia, we have some listeners, and I have some friends in Saudi Arabia. Saad probably listening now. He's never listening live. He'll listen later on, a couple days from now. But Saad, he's a doctor in Saudi Arabia, and alcohol is illegal, but I bet you, you could get in trouble with it if you got caught with it. But last I heard, they're all drinking. They're drinking on those compounds. They got private discotheques inside their fucking compounds, which is some of those rich Saudi dudes. You know what I mean? They have a nightclub in their house, and there's no telling what's going on in there. They can't party in public, so they do it in private. And they import foreign women to show up, and then their own women and dudes, and they have a whole Western scene going on in somebody's fucking palace. Well, they'll have alcohol in there, but that's a big problem. But like I said, there's no law enforcement agents. They own the law, you know? And I guess because it's not happening in public, they're not as fucking strict about it. They just don't want it in public.
Yeah.
But then I bet you if you looked, probably something like opium is probably not a problem at all.
Well, I kind of feel...
It wasn't in Egypt.
I mean, in a lot of ways, I kind of feel like trying to crack down on, you know, any kind of quote unquote personal bliss.
Yeah.
Whether people want to drink themselves into oblivion or if they want to do opium or whatever. I kind of feel like you're really like shooting yourself in the dick there because people are going to do it
no matter what you say.
No matter what you say.
And then you
I think it's better to acknowledge that people have a right to that.
Yeah.
And just try to like regulate it. Make sure like little kids don't get it. You don't want people driving on the shit. You don't want people giving it to their babies or whatever. Yeah. But you know, you just have like some guidelines. But other than that, if people want to live alone and they want to get like completely fucking fucked up on whatever their you know, chemical of choice is, I don't honestly have a problem with that. I really don't.
Well,
you're not hurting it as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
What happened over the years, especially in the 20th century, around the time of the 60s? The 60s, you had a damn culture war that happened. And the Republicans and the Democrats started to diverge. And what was strange is that the Republicans, who originally would have supported something like personal human rights about right to bliss, they turned against it, saying that it was like harm prevention. Like, we got to keep these people from hurting themselves.
They hooked up with the Christian,
had a lot to do with it too.
That's kind of why.
And you had religion and harm prevention happening with the Republicans, and they started the war on drugs later on in the 80s, which was even the DEA at that time was like, no.
I mean,
you don't want to do that.
That's not the way to go about things.
You'll recreate prohibition.
Yep. And how'd that work out? Not so good. Yeah. Not so good.
But that's all going away now. And a lot of that had to do with boomers. Boomer Republicans and their parents tended to be religious. And they were anti-drug mostly just because of religious purposes. It didn't really have anything to do with logic or reason. It didn't have anything to do with fucking constitutional rights. Now, they got rid of the right to bliss in the late 1800s because half the country was jacked up on cocaine, the other half was fucked up on morphine. But that was the 1800s. It's a very different population now. 1800s, they had no idea what the effects of these drugs were. They were kind of not taking an educated choices about how to use these things. The people were kind of in a childlike state.
I mean, at least people now have the information.
You know what they are
at their fingertips.
Right.
If you get into it,
right,
then at least you know what you're getting into.
I consider myself to be a modern Republican. I'm secular. All right, I don't believe in any of that fucking boomer style Republican. I believe in the old Republican stuff, traditional stuff, which is human rights by the fucking Constitution. And yeah, some people are going to get hurt, but this is not a child-proof world. You have I'm more of like a libertarian, more, you know. Some of the shit the Republicans did, I was like, well, why the fuck are they doing that? That's stupid. I mean, I remember being a kid, loving fucking heavy metal and shit, and heavy metal was fucking Republican as fuck. But Generation X didn't see it the same way. You'd have your Republican parents come in and fucking tear your damn heavy metal posters up for some fucking crazy reason. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, you said
your stepdad did that.
Yeah, he came in there and fucking, they faggots and this and that.
Yeah, my grandpa did that
tearing up the damn Judas Priest poster and all.
Talking about Duran Duran.
No, that came down. That's the straight one.
That's the straight one.
So,
man, even back in the 80s, my grandpa was going on. I was like, you know what? No one cares if they're gay or not. I was in this was the 80s, and I was kind of like, no, it's like, are they straight? Are they gay? Who gives a shit?
Right.
I don't give a shit.
A lot
they look good, and the music is good.
A lot of young, modern Democrats are having a hard time understanding fucking what what fucking Generation X Republicans and younger are about. The old boomers they're more and more irrelevant. Okay, the right and the left has a lot more in common now with our generation than they used to. A lot of the division is artificial. You got political parties that are trying to win. They don't care what reality is. They're gonna put a fucking wedge in between groups because it's a war between Coke and Pepsi basically. And this shit is going fucking sideways as fuck. But in the end, I believe it will kind of work out because people are going to realize that political parties in general are full of shit. They're full of shit, and if you they'll kill you to gain power. Got to go back to fucking traditions and fucking shit that actually works and things that survive contacts with reality, which is shit that's very practical. If it's not practical, it's not going to work. War on drugs, big fucking mistake. I was in fucking service during the first Gulf War. And that seemed to be, I thought Islam might have been a fucking serious threat. Well, it became an even bigger threat once you start fucking doing what they're doing. You know, the shit that they were doing in the Middle East didn't have anything to do with Islam. It was about making money. Then fueling a war machine in a bunch of fucking corporations.
Yeah, duh.
That same war machine is going to be used against the United States now and American citizens. All right, this empire is going sideways as fuck. People will wake up to it though eventually. They'll wake up to it that we're being lied to.
Bitch, my liberal ass woke up to that like a long time ago. Where you been?
There's not going to be the reality that people think there's going to be. We'll see what's going to happen.
I've always been of the opinion, look,
leave people alone.
If what you're doing, okay, if you want to do whatever drugs, you can sleep with whoever you want.
It doesn't really matter.
I mean, obviously, if they're consenting, let's all get consent.
They got to be adults.
Well, yeah, let's not do the kid thing. That's fucked up. And no animals either. Come on.
Yeah.
Because animals can't consent. So as long as everyone's consenting adults, do whatever the fuck you want. Shit all over each other. I don't give a shit. It's gross. I don't want to see it, but whatever. Whatever drugs you want to do. Honestly, all of that shit, I am into. Legalize drugs, legalize prostitution, legalize all that stuff. Yeah. Regulate it, sure. Make sure there's laws, everyone's safe.
Well, that's
shit
more
like that.
Traditional America, actually.
That's what I'm saying, and it's like I kind of feel like that's a better way to go about things. It's not going to be because if you. Like you said, when we had the whole situation with Prohibition, look how that turned out.
Yeah.
In case you are not from here, Prohibition, that's kind of like what made the mob so powerful.
Yeah. There's an equal and opposite reaction. When you ban things, you're just empowering organized crime.
Yeah.
You ban alcohol, organized crime. Ban guns, organized crime. Ban fucking sex, organized crime. It will fucking continue.
Because something will always flow in to fill in the gap.
Filling in that gap. Now here's the thing. The same fucking ruling class that backs the banning of these things are the same ruling class that will invest in the criminal side of that. Just like they do in Mexico.
Well, because they don't really believe in anything.
They don't believe in it. It's just kind of making money.
Well, yeah, they're just kind of like, well, we don't want the plebes doing that.
Right.
You guys should think it's bad to do drugs or be gay or whatever the fuck.
It's just like the Mexican mob and all these cartels.
But we're going to do whatever because we have money and no one's going to call us out on it.
The Mexican mob and the Mexican cartels, if you actually trace the money and see who's running those, it's the elected officials of fucking Mexico. Because if you fucking make something illegal, you've now made a potential market to make money on. So you play both sides. These people are not fucking moral. They don't actually believe in what they're saying. They see you as a sucker. Just like the people who fucking banned alcohol. The same people that banned alcohol in the United States also fucking invested in bootlegging. And then they invested in making prisons and law enforcement.
Well, that's what I mean.
They were fucking doing both sides.
They didn't have any principles.
They had no principle. No. So you want to get back, and if you're in America, you want to get back to what the original fucking America was, which was you had a right to bliss, you had a right to over your own body, which means you could be a prostitute, you could be a gunfighter, you could challenge somebody to a legal duel, Which somebody's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Look, as long as you have kind of like an
agreement,
an agreement about it, a legal framework for that.
Right.
I don't really have a problem. Like I said, as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
Right.
Everybody's agreeing to the situation that's happening. Do you both sign off on a duel and all that kind of shit?
If the federal government
you can do that.
can draft an 18-year-old boy and send him to fucking wage a war against people he doesn't even know, so the ruling class can make money off of that, who are they to say that same 18-year-old boy can't challenge another 18-year-old boy to a duel when they both want to fight each other to begin with, to settle this issue outside the court of law? You got a corporate war and a private war. It's the same thing. If you tell him he can't do that, who are you to tell him that he must fight your war? He says, you're going to fight our war, but you can't fight your own. No. That's fucking crazy as shit. Dueling in the United States got banned basically de facto. It was never truly adjudicated. It just changed because a new generation came into power and they went, our dads, they were assholes. You can't duel. No, it's a human right to duel. But you have to understand what the rules of dueling were. You could challenge him to a duel. If he didn't accept a challenge, you couldn't kill him. You could only say, he pussed out. He didn't accept the challenge.
And then that was the end of it.
That was the end of it. If he accepted the duel,
then there's a whole framework.
There's a whole legal framework together.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, you had presidents that were dueling. Jackson, I think, killed 2 in duels. I think insulting his wife, and another one.
As I said, as long as everyone's adults
willingly,
and they are agreeing to all the terms.
Yep.
Everyone's agreeing to all the terms.
Yep.
You're an adult.
Yep.
You're not mentally impaired in any way.
Right.
You agreed to do that.
Right.
Then that's on you.
And you see, it acted as a fucking as a pressure relief valve for motherfuckers running their mouth too fucking much. Guy's running his mouth. He's running his mouth. Bitch, I challenge you to a duel. And
put up or shut up.
Yeah, put up or shut up. And it's like, no, I don't want to do it. You see, he's a bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. You know, I challenged him, and he's fucking still going. He doesn't want to do it. Okay, he's a pussy.
Anything that would make people shut up is a good thing.
Right. He's a pussy. And then everybody else will go, dude, you're talking shit. He challenged you, and you didn't accept his challenge. You're still talking shit, but you won't fight him. So you know what I mean?
So everyone can ignore you.
Yeah, we got you on block. You know, there has to be legal ways where citizens. These are citizens, okay? Which the concept of citizenship seems to be going away from fucking people. A citizen had rights. And a citizen, one of the rights was as a citizen to keep other citizen in check legally. Yeah, you could sue someone, but you could also agree to list fight. You know, list fight. And here's the thing. That goes all the way back to Europe and the honky motherland. They were doing that in the medieval era, and they were settling disputes between men and women that way. They'd have a man and a woman in a divorce dispute, challenging each other to a duel. And
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, they would challenge each other to the duels. And, you know, they would give the woman a handicap. They had different ways to do it.
Would they put her in a hole or something?
No, they put the man in the hole.
They put the man in the hole, that's right.
They put the man in the hole and the woman was on top. That way the fight was more equal. So everyone could equally lose. Let me go to the...
Yeah, I know. I got to go too, but...
Yeah.
Tammy says, have you seen the movie Lawless with Tom Hardy? I have not, but I'm going to write that down right now because we love Tom Hardy. About moonshiners. Okay, I'm going to write that down. We'll watch that. I promise. Yeah, I mean, like I said, me and Tom, we have divergent political views. Let's put it that way. But on that, we can both agree. Honestly, as long as, as far as like control over your own body goes, this is why I'm not pro-drug. I'm just saying that if people want to do drugs, I don't want to do drugs. I'm just saying, like, if people want to, and they're not hurting anyone else, like I said, don't drive on it. Don't do the same thing that we do with like fucking DUI. I don't have a problem with it. If you want to be prostitutes, I don't have a problem with it. As long as no one's being forced into doing something they don't want to do, as long as they are, adult, they can give consent. I really do not have a problem with anything pretty much that people want to do. As long as everyone is consenting and they're not hurting other people that aren't involved with whatever it is they're doing, then you can just like do whatever and everyone should stay out of your goddamn business. So, you know. Let's see. Aerosmith wrote the song Dude Looks Like a Lady after meeting Vince Neil from Motley Crue. Honestly, it's so funny because I remember, like I said, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I was real into New Wave. And everybody picked on, because when I was in junior high, there was kind of like two factions. You had the New Wave faction, of which I was a part, and then you had the heavy metal, which by that time was actually kind of more mainstream, like heavy metal Bon Jovi kind of shit, Motley Crue kind of shit, by that point. So you had those two things. Everybody picked on New Wavers as being quote-unquote faggy, even though the people in the fucking heavy metal bands looked way more girly than the people in the New Wave bands.
It was all trans.
I mean, come on. Jesus Christ. The dudes in Duran Duran, because I was really into Duran Duran when I was a kid. The dudes in Duran Duran looked a lot more like dudes than the dudes in Motley Crue. Just saying. You know, so I don't know why everyone was like, ooh, New Wave, they're all fags, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck was that all about? I don't know. Let's see. Cheryl says, something similar happened to when I was 17. Shared a joint with a stranger, had heroin in it. Never did that again. Oh my God. Okay. My list must be so long. Which list? My movie list? It is. Honestly, sometimes, and they keep adding new shit. I went to Shudder the other day. Well, I went to Shudder yesterday because I'm doing my folk horror thing for February. And I went on there and watched 2 movies yesterday that I recorded reviews for. And they had added like 10 new movies, and I'm like, God fucking damn it. It's like, Shudder, when do you expect me to watch all of this stuff? Seriously. Amanda Gear says, times are so bad now, like if you want drugs that aren't laced with deadly shit, it has to be grown yourself or from a pharmacy. I mean, well, it was the same thing back then. I mean, honestly, if you got drugs when, like, back in the 80s and shit like that, you never knew what the hell was in there. All right, can I go to the bathroom?
Go ahead.
All right. You talk about
You still got plenty, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm on to the tequila.
What's up?
Got that tequila going.
She got mad because I touched her butt.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't want you touching her. She does the same thing. I reach out like this. She goes, brrr. See what everybody's saying. Yeah, she was saying that the Motley Crue movie is hilarious. Yeah, it was a good movie, though. I liked it. Lawless with Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's my favorite actor. Everything he's in is good. I haven't seen that one, though. And they're fighting over Tom Hardy because I want Tom Hardy to be the next 007. He'd be a great 007. But evidently, the James Bond people, they're like, no, we're not going to take him. Which that's just fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. I mean, he's a no-brainer for 007. Guess they're saying, well, he's made too many movies. Yeah, John, fucking duels kept people more polite. We see, used to be that the traditional honky motherland was built upon fucking just customs and traditions and they were honor-based societies. People had honor. Okay. Later on, it started to get more legalistic, which is kind of a very Chinese kind of way of looking at things. And modern society kind of has to have both. But really, legalism, I think, better applies to like mercantilism. In other words, kind of like business law, zoning, and shit like that. You really need that. But when it comes to what we would call criminal law, honor-based rules and regulations, traditions make more sense to me. So you have to have kind of a both things happening at once. Legalism can come back and bite you in the ass. You want a legal society, but you also want it to be slightly honor-based. Because your average person actually operates upon a system of honor, not really a legal system. All right. When dudes are in a bar fighting, they're not thinking about the laws. They're thinking about an honor-based system. Now, some people would be like, oh, well, that's terrible. Yeah, but that's always fucking pussies that are saying that. You need a mixture of it.
Well, honor-based works on a smaller scale.
Some things. It's between
on a smaller
individual
scale.
citizens.
On a macro level, you need a more
legalism.
complicated...
Right.
Because honestly, to be fair, you know, from an evolutionary standpoint, you know, we're just basically evolved monkeys.
Yeah, we're a fucking hairless
So we only evolved to be in a group of a certain amount of people, say up to 200. Larger than that, we start having problems.
Right.
So you need some kind of framework to address that. So I think, you know, in a large way, we've done a good job as far as we can, you know, do of addressing these weaknesses that we have.
Yeah. If you want to call them weaknesses,
well,
it's just how we are.
I mean, yeah, I don't use that word in a judgmental term. I'm just saying that that's kind of like, you know, from a naturalistic standpoint, that's just kind of like where you're coming from with it. We have certain limitations, you know. That's I'm not being judgmental about that. It's just true. Every being has limitations. You need to know what the limitations are, and we need to like work to circumvent that, or you know,
if you look
figure out how we're going to work around it.
If you look at the United States in the 1800s, especially the Western territories, they had laws, but if you actually read between the lines, most of the laws were really focused upon things like property rights, how certain things should be conducted in terms of, you know what I mean, whether somebody owned mineral rights or water rights when it went through. They had laws, but the way the average people conducted themselves on a day-to-day basis was more along the lines of customs and traditions. All right. And which would be an honor-based system.
I would argue that is largely still the case.
It's still pretty much the case.
Most people, when they go about just their daily life, 99.99% of people, they're not thinking about that. They're just thinking about, I'm going about my day, and you're just trying to like go through your day and like not make the day harder for other people. I mean, that's how I think. I'm not sure.
That's true, and that's where some of the problem comes in, because you'll have people that are doing what's natural, what they feel right at the time, and then somebody gets killed, and then next thing you know, you're thrown into a legal system that has a totally different standard that doesn't match up with reality. It's too draconian. You got too many damn people in prison. A lot of them belong there, okay, but there's some of them that don't. And in the United States, each state is slightly different, and it's going to be skewed based upon who those voters are that are there, which I think that's great, because the United States is a damn federal system. It should go back to a federalism where each state decides how they're going to run things, and if you don't like it, you can leave. You can vote with your feet.
Well, if you can afford to.
Well, anybody can afford to move. I mean, shit, I was fucking moving around the United States, didn't have a pot to piss in as a teenager. You can move. But like I said, if you can't move, then you're forced to live in a place, and if you don't like it, then oh well. Life isn't about fairness. It's just about practicality and what you can do. But, you know, nothing's going to be perfect. To me, I look at entertainment and I look at some of the entertainment's good, some of the entertainment's bullshit, and I see some of the good shit that are going like, yeah, a lot of America is basically Mos Eisley Spaceport out of fucking Star Wars. and it's kind of always been that way.
Yeah, it's really not any different. To be honest with you.
About like that, yeah.
And honestly, I don't know. That's why I'm kind of like, Look, I have enough problems with anxiety, okay? It's like, I don't want to be one of those people, and I especially, and I thought this even when I was younger, I especially did not want to be one of those old people that just thought, oh, everything was better back in my day, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Jesus Christ, please kill me if I ever get like that. Honestly, I would never, ever go back. I miss some things about the 70s and 80s, but not enough to go back to there. No fucking way.
Well, the technology.
I mean, nowadays, God, it's so much fucking better.
It's easier.
It's just so much better. Everything is so much easier. Yeah, there's some shit nowadays I don't like, but I wouldn't go back. Like, back then, Jesus Christ, what a pain in the ass everything was.
What we're talking about is just the convenience of what a cell phone can do and what a tablet can do with an internet connection.
Look at what
finding things.
When I was younger.
Information.
When I was younger. You know, the only thing I ever wanted to be from the time I was a kid, like, or a teenager. I guess when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a vet until I was like, well, I don't really want to have to put like kitties and puppies to sleep. That would be a bummer. And then after I kind of like found out, like I kind of went down that road, and then I was like, oh, I don't think I could. I'm too soft-hearted to do that. So I was like, well, all I ever wanted to be was a horror writer. And for a long time in the 80s, you pretty much, if you wanted to be a successful horror writer, you had to do like what Stephen King did. You had to like publish short stories in magazines, and then you had to have an agent, and then you had to go to like a big publisher, and you had to do all this other kind of stuff. Nowadays, you don't have to do any of that. You can publish your own book that looks exactly the same as one from like a big publisher, and it has just as much chance of like getting noticed. Maybe not just as much chance because you don't have as much advertising money behind you, but it's out there. Anybody in the world can like read that shit. And to me, like back in the 80s, if somebody had told me that that was going to happen, I'd have been like, thank fucking God. You know?
Yeah.
That's all I just wanted to like write my shit and like put my books out and like have people read them. And it's like, that's like fucking awesome. I never would have imagined like how easy it was.
We actually have a pretty good crowd going right now. This is open lines, people. If you have any questions about any of the damn cases that we've done in the past, or if you have any questions, go ahead and drop in the comment section, and me and Jenny will move the conversation along those lines. But we can't just sit here all day long making up these damn situations. You all have to be. It needs some audience interaction.
Well, I'm trying to read some of the questions, but you keep talking. Tammy says, "Have you seen Taboo with Tom Hardy?" I have not.
No, I've never seen that one. That motherfucker's made a lot of movies.
God damn. There's so many movies. Okay. Yeah, there's. I gotta keep my my shit here.
Okay. There's a lot of good movies Tom Hardy did. The other.
He's awesome, actually. Yeah.
What was the one where he played the British prisoner? What was that?
That's what they were talking about. That.
What's the name of that movie? Beast? No.
No, Bronson.
Bronson. Yeah.
Yeah, because Cheryl just said Tom Hardy was best as Charles Bronson, and then Lars Ulrich said, was that Charles Bronson the convict? Yes.
Yeah.
That movie. Oh my God, so fantastic. Good. Sophie sent us that, right?
Yeah, and it's done in the Clockwork Orange style.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little bit surrealist.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You think it's kind of like Stanley Kubrick doing this movie.
It is very Kubrickian.
In the Clockwork Orange style.
I'm kind of into it.
Because he is like something out of Clockwork Orange. And, yeah, it was a great movie.
I admire his
Mad
spirit.
Max was great. Fucking.
And
they're saying Broccoli, the Broccoli family is saying he cannot be Bond.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Who do I need to hit? Why couldn't he be James Bond?
He wants to be James Bond, and they're telling him no.
Why?
I don't know. They're fucking retarded.
He'd be a great James Bond.
If Craig could be Bond, and I'm a fan of Craig.
I mean, I could think of a lot of people who would be a good James Bond, but he would be a really good James Bond.
I think so. Maybe they're pretending to decline on him. Because it's kind of a no-brainer. Of course that's James Bond.
Because you know how they do. They're just like, we don't want to... And they're just like, just surprise.
Surprise, yeah. Because I think he'd be a great James Bond.
He would, actually.
James Bond has got to be a badass white British dude. Because that's what that character is. And you have some people say, well, we want a black James Bond. Why the fuck would you want a black James Bond? You got fucking, what's his name? Fucking Felix. Okay? Felix was black twice. And I think, and then the first black Felix, what was his name? Fucking shit, in 007. Felix what? Felix Leiter. The first black Felix Leiter was that dude who kind of reminded me of OJ, that big old dude, and that was like one of the best.
They should do a spin-off series, actually.
Right.
I'd
If
watch
you
that.
want to do a black James Bond, you don't do James Bond. You do Felix Leiter. Okay. Or
he needs his
you
own
got
movie
Shaft.
series.
You know, Shaft is fucking the black James Bond, even though the Shaft was.
I mean, it's not
actually
exactly the same, but it's similar.
similar. Okay. And he's not British though. But neither was Felix Leiter. Felix Leiter he's from the James Bond universe, but he was American.
Well, he was CIA, wasn't he?
CIA.
Yeah.
That was the CIA's version. And there were a couple of good Felix Leiters that were white. But the two that were fucking, two of them were black. Most of the white ones were more kind of like the comedic relief. They were kind of clownish. A couple times Felix appears and he's like the badass. He's just like James Bond. It's not quite. I didn't really think that worked because there's been so many James Bond movies. But the last Felix that died within the Craig series, that was my favorite.
Spoiler alert.
That was my favorite Felix Leiter of them all.
I think he was the best one.
Yeah, I think he was the best one. He's been in a bunch of movies here in the United States, and I bought that character. And fucking when he died and shit, yeah, I was like, oh man, they
Yeah,
killed
that was a
him.
bummer.
But everybody had to die. Everybody had to die because they were wrapping that series.
Everybody died.
Everybody had to die. And we had 5 movies with Craig. Some people said, well, fucking Quantum of Solace wasn't it? Quantum of Solace was one of the best ones. All right, it had a lot of all the paranormal stuff that happened in it.
Honestly,
I fucking liked.
You know what? It was
had a great fucking theme song with Alicia
True.
Keys in it. Fucking and the dude from White Stripes. Because
Exactly.
only thing I can say bad about the James Bond series is the last 2 movies did not have strong theme songs. Spectre didn't have one. No Time to Die did not have a good theme songs.
They were still good theme songs, but they weren't quite as memorable as...
Yeah, they didn't have that fucking Bondness to them where it's real catchy.
I liked that Skyfall song.
Yeah, good.
The one from Skyfall.
The best one was the fucking Casino Royale one.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
And the fucking the one from shit. I just said the name.
Quantum of Solace.
Quantum of Solace. Yeah. And some people say, "Well, Quantum of Solace." I fucking love Quantum of Solace.
You know what?
I thought it was a great movie.
I didn't. You know what? I didn't like it the first time I saw it. It was my
Gotta watch
least
it a couple
favorite.
times.
But the second time,
Yeah.
it's still my least favorite. But I liked it a lot better the second time I watched it.
It
So I
has
will
its
say that.
own thing.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has its own quality. But all 5 Craig movies I thought were strong. But you have to watch them a couple times. They were all good.
I mean, I like Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Gonna say.
He did a great job.
I liked him in Knives Out. I
Yeah.
liked all that kind of shit. I think they're making a sequel.
Yeah,
to that,
I've already
actually.
said that to fucking Ryan Johnson. He fucked up Star Wars, but I think he did a great job in fucking Knives Out. It was a
Man,
good
I
movie.
love Knives Out.
It was a good movie.
I love whodunits anyway, but
Yeah.
I think they're
Just-
making a sequel to that.
Just
like
keep
I
him
said.
away from Star Wars. But I'm not gonna say anything bad. You know, I'm not gonna say anything bad about.
See, it's
Some
just like
people can
everything.
do-
It's
some people can do Star
if
Wars.
it's in your wheelhouse, then it's in your
Right.
wheelhouse, and if it's not,
I
it's
just
not.
didn't like what he did. But
I didn't mind what he does. Like I didn't care that much about it, but you know what I mean.
it was wrong.
Amanda Gare says, "Are you drinking vodka, Jenny? It looks like pineapple juice. It's pineapple juice and coconut vodka.
Coconut vodka.
It's like a pina colada.
Like a pina colada.
Sure. Type
And I'm drinking tequila now.
Okay, now is it just me, or I don't know? Maybe this is me.
Yeah.
Do Tom Hardy and Logan Marshall Green look like exactly the same
I
person?
don't know Logan Marshall Green.
He was the one that was in. Wait a minute. Was it him that was in Upgrade? He was in The
man, I need to
Invitation,
see-
the
I need to
Karen
see-
Kasama movie.
I need to see Upgrade.
If you
again.
haven't seen The Invitation, if you're really into like really creepy like horror thriller kind of shit, holy shit, The Invitation was so good. Did you guys see like my review of Jennifer's Body, which was also directed by Karen Kusama? Watch Karen Kusama's other movie, The Invitation. It's so fucking good. And Logan Marshall Green was that. Seriously, that movie, the first time I watched it, I was like on the edge of my fucking seat the whole time. It made me so fucking anxious.
Cheryl says she's never seen a James Bond flick. Get the fuck out of here, Cheryl. Go ahead and hit the button. Go ahead and get the fuck out of here.
Honestly,
I
like,
can't
I'm not... I saw them off and on, like, over the years. It was never my favorite thing, but sometimes they'd be on cable, and it's just kind of like, eh. Well, I mean, I grew up during, like, in the crossover between, like, the Sean Connery and then, like, the Roger Moore era.
Which some
and
of
the Roger Moore ones were good, but some of them were, like, kind of, like, funny.
Yeah, comedies. Almost.
And...
cheesy. Almost almost kind of like a superhero movie.
Yeah.
But no, if you've never seen a James Bond movie, then you can't be on the show. You can't be in the comment section if you've never seen James Bond. Nah, okay, sure. Look, go watch.
He's fucking with you.
Go watch Casino Royale, all 5 Daniel Craig movies. They pretty much capture it and put it in a more modern context. That's pretty much who James Bond was. You have a lot of fucking crybabies saying, well, they changed it, that he's not smacking girls on the ass, and a lot of the shit that fucking there's...
that's not really part of the zeitgeist
that's
nowadays.
That's not the zeitgeist anymore.
If you did that nowadays, girl would punch you right in the fucking mouth.
It wouldn't look as cool. Like,
it's not cool. Like, everybody's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
This is not... It's not the 1960s. But fucking Craig did a real good, more of a modern rendition of the character. All 5 movies were good. Movie 5, fucking No Time to Die, homaged the entire series. All Bonds.
I liked it.
There's little Easter eggs in there.
My favorite's still Skyfall of the Daniel Craig ones.
The first one.
They're all good. They're all good.
They're all
worth watching. But Skyfall's my favorite. But they're all worth watching.
Oh no, and it's they're just kind of hardcore, a lot more realistic than the old ones in a certain way.
Not as glamorous. I mean, they're glamorous, but they're still like grounded in reality.
They're a little harder edged than the old ones.
Which I like. I like that.
Even though I liked some of the who was the Bond before it from fucking shit. Not Roger Moore.
Wait, Sean Connery?
No. The guy before Daniel Craig. I have all of the movies. I'm just trying to remember what
Pierce Brosnan?
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
I have all the Pierce Brosnan ones.
I didn't love those.
He's okay. I liked him. Some of the ones that were fucking kind of forgotten was the Timothy Dalton ones. I think he had 2.
He was only in 2, right?
Yeah.
2 or maybe 3.
Yeah, and Timothy Dalton was a little bit more hard-edged. He was a little bit more kind of like the Daniel Craig Bond. And I don't have them on Blu-ray. I need to get those 2. It was... Living Daylights, and I saw Living Daylights.
Tomorrow Never Dies?
I think so. Tomorrow Never Dies. I saw those in the movie theater. Now,
The Living Daylights.
Living Daylights.
That was Aha, wasn't it? It was Aha.
Sing the fucking...
I remember that song.
Yeah. Living Daylights. Yeah, it's good.
Man, I've heard that at Ibar a couple times. Which, can we talk about that a second?
Yeah, you talk about
Ibar is moving, closing. Ibar used to be known as Barbarella, now known as Barbarella again. Orlando Institution, downtown Orlando, is closing its doors after 37 years. That's where Memento Mori is, our goth night every month. And they're moving somewhere, but no one will tell me where. I'm trying to get info. All that John will say, who is the owner, he says we're moving it's 13 miles from their old location. So we'll see. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'm kind of upset about this because honestly, I've been going to Ibar since, the 90s? Something like that. And it's kind of like my second home. And it will be weird. Like, I'm glad that they're not just closing, they're moving to another location, but shit, man. That location at the corner of Orange and Washington, right in the downtown Orlando area, and it's like so iconic, and that'll be weird, like, not going there anymore. They are doing like a Memento Mori on February 21st, and Dimitri, the DJ, he writes me on Facebook the other day and he's like, can you make like a Facebook cover photo for like the Last Dance Memento Mori? That's the last one that they're doing there. hopefully they're going to move Memento to the new location. He's hoping to get a Friday, but we're going to see how that goes. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm not entirely sure where they're moving it to, but it's going to be really weird. Man, I've been going there since I was like a kid, and it's not going to be exactly the same, and I'm just kind of like bummed out about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I know it's just like a bar and everything, but shit, it's like fucking Cheers, man. I grew up there, and it's going to be strange like going somewhere else like to go there, but you know, we'll see. Cheryl says, "Oh, that's sad to lose your watering hole, but at least they're just moving." I know. Well, like when I first heard it, everybody said, "Oh my God, they're closing," and I was like, "What? No." I mean, I know it's been almost 40 years, but come on. But he's like, "No, we're moving," but he won't tell me like where they're moving to.
They must not know.
No, John knows, but he doesn't want to tell anybody.
I got a feeling it's Sanford.
It might be.
Sanford.
All John would say, like I said, was it was 13 miles from their old location, which
Sanford.
That might be downtown Sanford.
Yeah, Sanford.
Are they trying to like compete with mannequins?
Well, it could be that him and
Big Tom are like up. That's kind of what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
That other fucking club that Big Tom was working on.
That's right. Him and Scotty.
I'm gonna talk to Tom. Yeah, and Tom.
Ask him because him and Scotty, they bought that other or rented that other space.
Yeah.
Like that theater. That they were gonna turn into like a more high end type of like a cocktail lounge, and maybe they've all been in negotiation. I'm not really sure. So
we'll see.
We'll see how that
egos
goes.
Are involved. We'll see.
I mean, I'm gonna miss the downtown location.
Yeah,
I am, but hopefully it'll be closer to us. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Stardog says Diamonds Forever was the worst Bond movie. Yeah, I remember it as a kid. Diamonds Are Forever. I remember the theme song. I remember liking it as a kid, but I haven't seen it since the 70s.
I haven't either.
There's a lot of those Bond movies kind of came and went. They're kind of forgotten. You can buy every one of them for like about $100 and something on Blu-ray in a big old collection.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could sit through that many of them. Some of the older ones are just not. They didn't age that well. The Brosnan ones, I want to check out. Fucking old. Fucking what was the dude from Living Daylights again? You just said his name.
Wait, Pierce Brosnan or Timothy Dalton?
Timothy Dalton. I want to get those Timothy Dalton ones. That was from the 80s, and I remember liking them. It was kind of like a little. I remember Living Daylights being kind of like almost a realistic version when you compared it to
the previous ones.
To the previous ones. What was that motherfucker's name? Fucking
Roger Moore.
Roger Moore was starting to become almost like a superhero.
Well, yeah,
he would jump down in a sewer with it down. He would jump. He'd put on a tuxedo.
And then like a scuba suit over it.
And a scuba suit over that. Jump into a fucking sewer. And then come out in a fucking.
Then he's like, ta-da, I'm immaculate.
Yeah, and be immaculate and be able to play.
My hair's perfect.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, hold on.
I'm like,
what? Yeah.
In what universe does that work?
You don't even smell like shit? No, you smell like shit.
Holy shit, man. I can't even like walk across my house without my hair getting messed up. I don't understand. You can go through a sewer.
Now, they're talking about the Connery captured the time. Yeah, I think Connery captured those old times.
Sure. Yeah, but that's what I mean is that, the point we're making is that times change.
Times aren't here anymore. Right.
If you did that nowadays, that's going to come across very different than how it came across back then. It just wouldn't be as...
Look, man, dudes got away with shit back in those days, which that's fine. It's just that kind of... Some of that stuff that they did comes off as being cheesy nowadays or artificial or forced because, well, one, the movies were a lot more theatrical and stagey back then.
That's true.
They didn't have kind of a hard edge to them. It was more of kind of like fantasy, which they were kind of spy fantasy more. But as they went on, they kind of got a little bit more rooted in reality. This is based on memory. I haven't seen all of Connery's movies, but I really liked the Daniel Craig movies.
Well, as I said, they were a lot more realistically grounded. Yeah. They still had a fantasy aspect to them.
Especially the last one.
in the sense that they had like all these like exotic locations and all this kind of like, you know, stunts and technology and stuff that wasn't exactly possible in real life. But so there was that, but it wasn't this whole kind of thing where he was like a superhuman. I do kind of feel like not so much Sean Connery, maybe. He just kind of came across as like kind of a sexist pig. But Roger Moore kind of came across as more of like a clownish, like you said, like a superhero. Yeah. Where it's kind of like he was always immaculate.
Well, he was also getting too old for the role.
That's true. That's, that too.
He was a handsome old guy. I'll give the old devil that.
Yeah.
But he's constantly chasing after these 23, 24.
Yeah, and it was starting to get a little weird.
Hotties, and he's fucking 55.
It's like,
56.
dude, you're old enough to be her dad.
Yeah. And he's not
weird.
And he's not really like a fucking jacked up fucking hyper masculine fucking, you know, he's a skinny guy in a tux, in a suit.
And he's old.
He's just like an old corporate guy, really. And you know, well, which that might sound kind of fucked up, but you said, well, you know, they have fucking women in porn in their 60s or 70s that are hot as fuck, but they're jacked up looking. Big old implants, a lot of fucking hormones, and fucking cosmetic surgeries. They look like sex machines. If you're fucking 65, 66, you know, fucking, and you look like a sex machine, then yeah, you're going to get away with being able to do porn. But if you're just your common fucking 65-year-old fucking skinny chick fucking with your titties fucking around your ankles, then no, you don't really fucking belong in porn. But they have, you know what I mean? You have to be able to look the part.
There's a niche for everybody.
Yeah, but come on.
But sometimes the niches are smaller and smaller.
Come on, this niche gets smaller and smaller. Okay, I'm trying to think who it is that fucking... That woman was 70-something years old, and she looks like a damn sex witch.
Oh yeah, you showed me her before.
Yeah, and
I might like that. I might like that CB handle better than bitch tits.
Sex witch. Yeah.
Can I be bitch tits sex witch?
The thing is you see sex witch and you're like, well, of course she's in a porn movie.
Sex witch.
Of course she's in a porn movie. You know what I mean? Fucking, she doesn't look out of place. You know, but you know, Roger Moore started to kind of look out of place for what he was doing. You know, a dude like
I would be creeped out if somebody like that looked like Roger Moore was hitting on me, and I'm old.
Yeah.
So I'd be like a little creeped out.
But you know, fucking Sylvester Stallone, as old as he is, he's a little bit more understandable. Like if you put him in that role, you go, yeah, okay, because that motherfucker's got a huge upper body and he's fucking totally jacked up, and you go like, yeah, might be able to do that, you know. And I think his wife is very young, so yeah, you know, at least he looks sexual. It's just that Roger Moore didn't look sexual at that age, not to me.
He looked a little bit like a creeper.
Kind of like a creeper. Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. You're only going to be able to go so far.
I mean, to be fair, though, I kind of feel like there's a storied Hollywood tradition of having these, like, old as fuck dudes.
Yeah.
Paired with these, like, women that are young enough to be their daughters.
Well, the old dude is a friend of
weird.
theirs. The old dude's a friend of theirs.
It's
And they're
weird.
trying to keep him working in Hollywood. That's fucking part of it.
And they're like, well, we need the latest it girl, and like this chick is like hit 35, and she's like an old hag now, so we're gonna like put some 22-year-old in there that's like young enough to be your goddamn daughter.
Okay,
and that's your love interest.
I just remember.
Weird. It's weird. What's the sex witch's name?
Sex witch's name is Sally D'Angelo.
Sex witch. What sounds better, bitch tits sex witch or sex witch bitch tits?
Sex witch.
I mean, I like it both ways.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get a fucking...
like I said,
a clean photo of fucking sex witch.
Yeah, don't get me demonetized.
No,
you already showed a butt. You probably already, like... Probably
no,
did,
she's alright.
Honestly, like I said, if you weren't here earlier, last night, for whatever reason, we decided we were going to watch Smokey and the Bandit. And I was trying to remember, because I was like, when this movie came out, when did that movie come out? 81? 82? Something like that. And I was like, man, that was like,
There's Sally D'Angelo at 70-something years old. Of course that's a sex witch. Yeah.
Okay, good. What'd you say?
that was kind of like the heyday of CBs are cool kind of culture.
Yeah.
And my dad was real into CBs. And I was trying to remember, we were watching the movie last night. I'm like, God damn it, what the fuck was his handle? And it was like, it seemed like it was like right on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't fucking remember. It might have been something to do with Fig, because my dad's middle name is Newton, so his nickname was Fig, obviously, because Fig Newton. So that might have been his handle, was Fig, but I kind of feel like that's not right. I don't know. So I was trying to like think, and then I was like, oh, I wonder if I had, did I have a handle back then? I don't know. I kind of feel like, remember when CBs were cool for like 10 minutes back in the 80s?
Well, we were watching fucking...
we were watching Smokey the Bandit.
And we're like, fucking, what the fuck?
It's a whole movie based around like, aren't CBs cool?
Yeah.
But it was cool for, like I said, about 10 minutes back then. Maybe it was long. Maybe it was longer than 10 minutes. Maybe it was like a month or two.
That was during the time you had to pay to talk on the telephone.
That's true.
And you could talk on the fucking CB for free, so therefore you were fucking cheating. You
felt like you were getting
cheating.
away with something.
Yeah.
And it had like the lingo.
Yeah.
And they use a lot of lingo in the Smokey and the Bandit movie. Although I will say, I saw Smokey and the Bandit like a million times back in the early 80s because it was on cable every 5 seconds. But I had forgotten, like, I thought the movie was like a lot zanier than it was. So watching it again, I'm like, actually, this is a pretty quality piece of filmmaking. You know what I'm saying?
What movie?
Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, Smokey and the Bandit, yeah.
I said this is a pretty quality piece of filmmaking. It's not as zany as I thought it was. Maybe I was confusing it with the Cannonball Run, because that was another movie.
No,
I
that
saw.
one was a lot more zany.
We should probably watch that one too.
Yeah,
at
we'll
some
watch
point.
that one.
But
Smokey and the Bandit was actually pretty good. It was kind of a good monument to the Southern culture of the time. It was
had
true.
Jerry fucking Reed in it, you guys.
It was true to the culture as I remembered it.
Yeah.
I would watch it on HBO all the time when I was fucking visiting my dad's fucking house in Mississippi back in the summer. And I'd be like, fucking, like, yeah, it's just funny how that's the way the world was, at least for me, for every summer, But that's it. That was the South of the fucking early 80s. Or was that mid 80s?
I think it was early 80s. I think that came out in 82.
82.
Something like
So
that.
I was probably seeing it in 83 because they would let shit age for about a year before they would put it
come out of cable,
HBO.
yeah.
And they'd play it. And then I also remember the part 2, but I don't really remember everything that happened in part 2.
Well, now, see, we have to watch part 2 at some point because I did see it, but I don't remember. Because at the end of part 1, I had forgotten that they set up another heist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they bootlegged the cores. That was like the whole point of the movie. And then at the end, they're like, oh, now we're going to like bootleg some... Yeah, it's not bootlegging. They're going to like take some clam chowder up to Boston like within a certain time period, which, like I said, doesn't really have the same criminal allure to it, I guess, because it's not really illegal to drive clam chowder around like it is Coors beer back then. But we were watching this and we were like, even back then, even back in the 80s, technically, it was bootlegging to take Coors over the Mississippi River, I think. But would anybody really have cared that much about it to like chase you for several states? No. But back then, we bought into it. And what Tom was saying, and this is, I agreed with this. It's like, well, you couldn't have the bandit and the snowman being like, well, we're going to smuggle some drugs across state lines. Because
that's what it would have been.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would have been like a lot less sympathetic. But if it was something that was just like as innocuous as beer.
Right.
And, the letter of the law, yeah, it was illegal to transport Coors beer over the Mississippi River back then, technically. But like I said, nobody would give a shit if you did it.
No.
No one would give a shit, even in the 80s.
Yeah, I think the movies like this kind of reinforced weird ideas in the minds of the Yankees that the South was ultra fucking worried about things like alcohol and sex and weird shit. No, man, no. What it was is that the movie was trying to make them sympathetic.
Yeah. They're just like,
In
they're
reality-
outlaws, but not in a way that was like offensive.
Right. Okay. So it's just beer. In reality, the shit would have been a big old truckload of fucking weed or coke. That's
Sure.
In those days, that's what it would have
But
been.
you couldn't do that in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because then they'd be like, no, well, they're actual criminals, and no
Right.
one's going to sympathize
right,
with them.
and fucking they wouldn't rate it as even R.
You
Probably
wanted
rated
something
A.
that would make
Right.
them seem like scofflaws,
Right.
but not
Right.
criminals.
Right. And
Right.
then every element of this movie was actually borrowed and lifted off of Smokey the Bandit, and it became fucking the Dukes of Hazzard. It's the same fucking movie.
Well,
Dukes
yeah,
of
that's why
Hazzard
they made Dukes
was
of
just
Hazzard.
this. Okay.
Because they're like, oh, everybody liked that movie.
Right.
How? So let's make
Right.
some more of that. We got a cool car.
Right.
We got a couple rednecks. We got like jumping over bridges and ponds and whatnot
right.
in this cool car.
Yeah, well, the fucking
So, you know.
Dukes of Hazzard was a Trans Am with a fucking army of fucking Lee's army fucking flag on the fucking front bumper, and then fucking in Dukes of Hazzard, I think that was what was that, a fucking Charger, a Dodge Charger maybe, with fucking
Wait, was it? I haven't seen that in a long
Lee's
time.
fucking battle flag.
I did
on
used to
top
watch it
of
when I was a kid.
I think it was a Dodge Charger.
Now, Tammy does make a good point. She says the main reason that Jackie Gleason was chasing him was because Sally Field left his son at the altar. I am actually,
Yeah.
I appreciate, and actually
Yeah.
watching it again last night, I did appreciate that they added that other thing. So he had a
Right.
personal reason. It
Right.
wasn't just the beer. He didn't really
Right.
care about that. He was just mad, even though he didn't obviously give a shit about his son because he
Yeah.
thought his son was like a retarded idiot
Yeah.
that was maybe
was
not
just-
even his.
Yeah. What
They
it is,
implied
I
at some point.
Somebody else's fucking son. But the thing is,
There's
is
no
that-
way you came from my loins.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that still doesn't explain why they were paying them so much to take the beer there. No one would pay that much to send that much fucking Coors within a time limit.
Well, the thing about
wouldn't
Big
matter.
Enos and Little Enos, who were the
Yeah.
ones that put it up, their whole thing, they didn't really establish their backstory or anything.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, the whole, to get the plot into motion, they were like, these are just very rich people that get off on making people do these ridiculous things just for their own amusement. They weren't cops or anything, those two.
Who?
Paul Williams and the big guy.
No. Well, they were just
Big Enos and Little
they
Enos.
were the drug dealers, basically.
Yeah. They just thought it was fun to let's see
if
if
they
these
had-
people can do it.
Yeah, kind of like shit like that happened. It didn't happen.
Well, like I said, it's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie.
It's contrived. It's a contrived
contrived.
situation.
Very contrived, yeah.
But
I
if
had
you
to
buy
I had to
into it,
take
it's
my
super
mind
fun.
out of it.
It's
You
super fun.
Yeah, whatever. And then the whole thing about where you got the truck in the back and then you got the car out in front and it's taking all the heat for the speeding. That wouldn't work either.
Well, except
That's
that Burt Reynolds kept getting distracted because he
Yeah.
picked up Sally Field, and
Yeah.
then they were off doing their own
Right.
shit.
And it was mostly useless conversation between the two, and most of it had to do with her dumbass career as a dancer.
And her big old wedge shoes.
Yeah, wedge shoes and fucking.
She danced on Broadway for 12 minutes.
Burt Renner's talking about her fat calves, even though she didn't have fat calves. She's obviously got those little skinny fucking legs.
I had forgotten how
Yeah.
much of how much negging he did.
Yeah, I'm looking at her.
I watched it.
legs.
He's like, yeah, he did say she had fat calves,
Yeah,
and I was like,
I'm looking, I'm
bitch,
going,
what?
And I'm like going, well, this is before.
Bitch, I have fat calves. She does not have fat calves.
I'm like, this is before the age of Big Fine, and a motherfucker like him wouldn't know anything about fucking fat calves and wouldn't be able to appreciate fat calves anyway. It's just kind of funny. There's no.
I like my fat calves and my big fat ankle.
Okay. Those are fat.
It's not like I can
They're
do
not
any.
fat.
It's not like I can do anything
They're
about
not fat.
it. Jackie Gleason was just hilarious.
Yeah, he
says
knocked it
Tammy.
out of- he knocked
I
it out of the
mean,
park.
I had forgotten. I loved all the names he came up with for his stupid ass son.
Yeah.
Like, I had forgotten how fucking funny that was. And he's like not even Southern. He's from Brooklyn.
From
right?
Brooklyn. Although he nailed it. We're fucking up. He nailed the fucking over the top psychopathic fucking Southern fucking cop. Okay, and he did nail it. He's supposed to be a Texan.
Yeah, he's
Crazy
from
Texan.
Texas. Sheriff from
And
Texas.
he runs into a bunch of other cops that fucking.
He tells those dudes that were like stealing
Yeah.
the shit from the car, don't play with yourself, and he's like, "Oh, you can think about it, but don't do it."
Just crazy shit. Crazy fucking dialogue. Crazy dialogue.
I have forgotten how fun that was. Like I said, I hadn't seen that movie in probably, Christ, 25, 30 years. I saw it a million times when I was a kid. A million times. Cheryl says, "What are we watching tonight?"
Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
I'm not sure. Last night, you know what I ended up watching last night? We watched Smoking the Bandit. And then I wasn't drinking last night. We were just drinking Dr. Pepper Zero, actually. Put it in our new fridge.
Mark Wahlberg was
And-
always good in all his movies, man. Go ahead.
I mean,
Cheryl's saying Mark
Boogie
Wahlberg.
Nights is one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies ever.
Go see.
I fucking love Boogie Nights.
One of the greatest Florida movies of all time.
Pain and Gain.
Is Pain and Gain with Mark
Mark
Wahlberg and The
Wahlberg's in
Rock.
that too.
Yeah, Michael Bay movie.
It's very, very
True
entertaining.
crime movie.
Very entertaining. Based
About
on a real
Florida.
case.
Here in Florida.
But
See
the
that?
people that got murdered were kind of shitty, so you won't feel that bad.
Yeah. The Yeah, talking about Boogie Nights and everything like that. What do we? Well, I don't know what we're gonna watch tonight.
Yeah, last night we watched Smoking the Bandit, and then I
here in a
found
bit. What? How long we been streaming?
2 hours and 21 minutes.
Okay. I don't want to stream forever.
Well, no one's streaming forever. It's
Okay.
only 2 hours.
Okay.
Calm down.
All right.
Last night, I was kind of like, man, I want to watch some like cooking shit, because you know how I do. And I found on Amazon Prime. Well, okay. At first, I thought they had this one Gordon Ramsay thing. What's that Gordon Ramsay thing, like Cook With Me, like his cookery course?
Oh, there's so many of them.
And like it came up on Amazon Prime. I'm like, oh bitch, I'm watching this. And then like it wouldn't let me, and I'm like, oh, Amazon Prime. And he laughed at me because I was like, Amazon Prime is such a cock tease. Because it says you can watch it, but then it's like, no, you have to like subscribe to this other, like the Stars add-on or whatever. I'm like, dude, fuck that shit. Okay. But I did find this 3-episode series that was Gordon and his whole family from his house, and he was doing his holiday shit, and I think it was from like 2013 or 2014 or something. So he's like cooking some shit. There was like a Christmas one, and there was just like a random winter one, and there was like another random winter one, and it had like all his wife and his kids and his mom and all this other kind of crap. And like, I don't know, like I got really into that. So I watched all 3 episodes of that last night. So that's what I was getting into. And I wasn't drunk. I was like completely sober. We didn't drink last night. But I don't know. And he tells me sometimes, he's like, well, Kate, like when you watch like all these cooking, doesn't that make you hungry? I'm like, yeah, but not in a way that makes me want to eat food though. But it gives me like good ideas about stuff, you know? Also, I think I watched the new Next Level Chef because it comes on every Sunday night, and Hulu adds the new one like the next day. So on Hulu, you can watch Next Level Chef the next morning. So I watched the next one of that, and that's a good show also. If you haven't seen that, that's pretty cool. That's Gordon Ramsay and who are the other fucking 2 chefs? I can't remember. They're famous too, but whatever. And it's kind of like The Platform, if you guys remember that Netflix movie. And it's pretty good. It's kind of like MasterChef, but mixed with The Platform, you know? So it's like that, and I watched the new one of that, but then I watched like the 3 episodes of Gordon making holiday food for his family.
Dan Bell just fucking...
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he did.
But what I was saying was that when I watched the Gordon Ramsay holiday show, his son Jack, and I realize this is going back several years because I think this show was like from 2013. His son Jack looks exactly like him. He's like a baby Gordon Ramsay. He had the same haircut and everything. Holy crap. He mostly had daughters. How many kids does that bitch have? 4, right? A million. I think he has 4. I think he has 3 daughters and a son. But his son Jack looked exactly like him. He had the same haircut and everything. But yeah, So I was watching that last night. That's what I was watching. After Smokey and the Bandit. Although, at some point, we probably should watch Cannonball Run. They did have Smokey and the Bandit 2, which I did see, but I don't remember what happened in it. Do you remember? I don't remember.
No, I don't remember. Hold on, in the restroom. Hold on.
And same thing with Cannonball Run. I saw the first Cannonball Run probably a zillion times. I know I saw the second one also, but I don't really remember what happened in that one either. Gordon has a show called Uncharted where he tries to channel Bear Grylls and Anthony Bourdain. Yeah, we've seen some of that. I don't know if it's still on, but I did watch some of that. That's the one where he like goes. There was one where he went to like Louisiana and he cooked like Nutra and stuff like that, right? Yeah, Tammy said well, hey, Pook. Saw a funny show with Gordon and two of his buddies traveling around. Yeah, we watched that one. That was like his shit, man. What was that called? It's called like American Road Trip or something like that. And yeah, that was actually pretty good. I did watch that. I can't remember what streaming service that we watched that on, but yeah, we watched that one too. I love Dan Bell, Dead Malter. Honestly, Dan Bell, there is something about him. I will watch him all day long. I watch his... I usually don't watch his live streams live because he usually does them Saturday nights. He's living in Ecuador now. Well, part of the time. And he did a video where he was comparing like an American mall with like one in Ecuador. The one in the US was like super dead, but the one in Ecuador was like super busy. And it was like super lush and everything. And it was like really interesting, but he usually does a live stream on Saturday nights, but not always. One of the best live streams he did recently was one that he did, because he's from Baltimore, and he did one where he drove around Baltimore and went to like all these Edgar Allan Poe sites, like Edgar Allan Poe adjacent kind of stuff, like the old house he used to live in and stuff like that. And that was actually like really, really cool. I enjoyed that very, very much. Gramthars says, my kids take after their mother, thank goodness. Camp Guy says, Guy Fieri has a good mini-series with his family where they're all driving all over the country. His son is in the hospitality industry. I should probably watch that, although Guy Fieri kind of gets on my nerves. A little bit. I can take him in small doses, but he does kind of get on my nerves after a while. Gordon has 5 kids. I thought he only had 4. Maybe he's had another one since then. So it must be... There was 4 in that. Did Tom ever get around to watching Bullet?
No, never got to around.
Okay, that's another one. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Because otherwise I'm going to forget. Hotel Hell is the best. Yeah, I liked that one too. Honestly, I kind of wish they'd done more of that. Although, man, as I mentioned before, how the fuck does Gordon Ramsay have time to do all this stuff, man? He has like 40 bajillion shows. Every time I look, he's got another fucking show coming out. I don't understand who is it. Well, hi.
What's up, Book?
She like ran it by.
What's up, Book?
Jamie Oliver has a ton of kids too. Interesting. I haven't watched any of his stuff in a while. I like Jamie Oliver though. But you know. Oh, Pokey. She's like, oh wait, what? Let everybody see you, Poke. Oh. Look at that baby. She's like, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yep. Admire me. It's fine. Look at that face. Look at that face. She loves her daddy.
I'm getting hungry.
Are you really?
Yeah, aren't you getting hungry?
A little bit, yeah. What are you gonna make?
I got stuff to make tacos. Or burritos.
What would you rather have?
It doesn't matter.
Either is good.
Oh, no. I thought hamburger. I can make hamburgers. Got buns and everything.
That's right. You went earlier and got buns.
Yep.
Tammy says, Pookie!
Yeah.
Look at her. She's being such a good girl. You guys, earlier, I got this wig out of the closet, and then I had to brush it with my hairbrush. So before I put it on, I was like brushing it, and Pookie was like, why are you using that brush to brush your wig and not Pookie?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like brush the wig, and she kept like, with her paw, give me the brush. She loves the brush. She has her own brush. Like, I have a glove that has, like, brush on it, but she loves my hairbrush for whatever reason. I'm not really sure. Talk about Southern U.S. set films makes me think of a little-known film called Dirty Little Billy with Michael Pollard. I recommend. Western. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that one, actually. I'm going to write that down, though. I'm writing down a lot of stuff this evening. They sell Wagyu beef hamburgers at my local grocer.
Wagyu.
Wagyu.
Yeah.
Wagyu. I'm drunk, too.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody says, oh, everybody loves Pookie. Yeah. Pookie's the best kitty.
Yeah.
She's the best kitty.
She's down there with the toys. Looking at them. You got your whole cluster of toys, huh, Poop?
She has
now she's attacking toys. Yeah. Beat them around. Beat them up.
Oh. Cats are hilarious, says Cheryl. They are. She's especially hilarious. She's a very funny little thing. All right, so you seem like you're getting kind of...
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to end the show. I gotta go get something to eat, man. We'll cook this up.
Okay. You gonna go make some burgers?
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good, actually. All right, so thank you, everybody, for dropping by. Thanks for super chats and hanging out with us, asking us questions this evening. We'll be back on Sunday talking about a movie. We don't know which one yet.
Yeah, we'll see what it is.
But we'll find out. Maybe we'll talk about War of the Worlds, or maybe we'll talk about Smokey the Bandit. Who knows?
Because we watched War of the Worlds. That was a good one.
We did, yeah. The 50s
original
one. The 50s one.
Yeah.
So we might talk about that. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Short episode. Not really. Two and a half hours.
That's not that short, bro.
I mean,
we've been spoiling y'all.
Dude.
Yeah.
I got literally like 2 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah, you're right. That's part of the reason why I'm like, let's go ahead and cut this
I'm
short.
exhausted. Yeah. And I recorded 2 videos today. So,
yeah.
I'm kind of worn out. But yeah. So, yeah, we'll see you guys on Sunday afternoon. Thanks, everybody, for dropping by. Have a good weekend up until we see you next time. And we will see you on Sunday afternoon. Bye.